Yeah?
I didn't realize that we would be going live this quickly, but apparently we are.
Okay. So are we actually live?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
You want to check your phone and make sure that is in fact a thing? It was weird.
And all the pomp and circumstances left.
What?
And all the pomp and circumstances left the building. We are live.
Folks, it's official.
How do I check this? Okay.
Folks, I'm drunk.
I'm drunk?
I am drunk.
Oh, look at that. It's me. Great.
Wow.
Can you monitor this from... Hi, everybody. Can you monitor this from
No.
YouTube Studio?
No. I don't think so.
Really?
I'm just going to go to the stream itself and make sure we're not
So you can just watch it in delay.
looking like some dumb shit.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
friends.
Hey. I'm going to take my shoes off.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes early, so I guess we'll just stall here for a little bit.
I guess I'll put... You get to see how the frickin' sausage is ground, my friends.
Oh.
Yeah. I keep forgetting we're actually live. So what's up? Hi, how are you? I'm gonna post on Discord and let y'all know.
Yeah, yeah. No, the delay isn't terrible.
Hey, whoops.
Not much is popping.
We're live early.
It's like somewhat early here in the world.
Who's talking to you? I can't see. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's popping? What's popping?
But yeah, I'm gonna pretend like I'm awake.
Let's do this. This is gonna be weird because it's on a serious delay because we're gonna be seeing the comments as they come in.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you guys doing? How are you all doing? What's up with you? How you feeling? How you doing? We want to stall for like 12 minutes, which is a substantial amount of time. So maybe
Exactly.
leave the stream, go get a cup of coffee, and come back in like 12 minutes. But we are here to do a Q&A. You guys queued a lot, and we are ready to A a lot.
I'm ready to A your cues.
Oh, wow. A lot of cues to be A'd.
Grang.
I feel naked because, well...
Yeah, I don't have a desk in front of me.
Yeah, and, like, I can't see the questions, and I'm not going to, because you're going to need to be in Discord as well, so that we can ask each other questions.
Why don't we just have one phone out here for Discord and then one phone over here?
Why don't we just get another phone?
Oh, true. Wait, also, couldn't I just hypothetically...
This is how the sausage is made.
Wait, Can I just...
This is an unceremonious way to start.
Yeah, this is really... Okay.
This is Brandon's fault. I'm going to blame him on the
Hey!
energy of this live stream. Because he accidentally just hit go live.
It didn't even give me an option. It just went live.
Do you want to... Oh, you want to? Cool. Jake looks ready. He looks ready on the couch.
He looks comfy.
Yeah. Claire told me I look like a farmer cult leader today. In my baggy pants rolled up.
That's
And my
interesting.
sustainable shirt. And my home-dyed scarf.
Nice.
Yeah. The pokeberries in my backyard are turning again, so I could dye more clothes.
Oh.
I dyed this myself.
He's
With pokeberry.
he's very resourceful. Very resourceful. I will never be this resourceful.
I mean, it just takes doing it to do it.
Yeah, but that's a lot of build up.
it's literally no build-up. You just choose to do it. Oh, wait, no, we're answering questions too early.
It's true.
You guys don't get questions yet. Is anybody saying anything of importance? You just say no.
No. No. Everyone's asking very wonderful questions, and
So probably because
I hope to become awake enough to answer them.
Because I can't see what's up on the stream, and because we have literally like 100 questions to answer. We probably, once we get started, some of you might be like, "Oh my God, they're answering questions. Let me ask a question." We're probably not going to be able to get to any of the questions you ask live. But that being said, join the Discord, because we're going to do temporary things like this all the time, and also just join the fucking Discord. Like we love you. And we miss you, and like it's your space.
But
and
if
you're not
you
there,
more if you join the Discord.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're not there, we feel longing in our hearts. We feel like you are missing.
I wake up in the middle of the night.
I want to know that you're there with us. So
And
come join. Grang says he agrees with my vibe. Nice.
You're going for like a very interesting color palette. It's very interesting. Like, I don't think I've seen that much, like, blue and, like, beigeish brown together before, but it works. Yeah.
Big words.
Yeah.
Big words from a big man.
You call me fat?
Yeah, so join the Discord, and I'm going to do 10 minutes of a pitch. This will give, I hope we get some downvotes. So, if you were on the Discord, you would know this, or if you were a poltergeist in our office, you would know this because of the conversations we have behind closed doors. But on our last live stream, we got the first ever thumbs down on a video, which I just was so astounded by, because like we make a lot of videos and they're really long, and sometimes I just think by like the sheer length of the videos, somebody's gonna be like, nah, screw this. But I guess we're good people, and people don't downvote us. But 2 weeks ago, when we did a stream, I talked about member-supported organizations, and I talked about our Patreon, and I'm pretty sure that's why somebody downvoted us. So I'm going to talk about Patreon a little bit again.
Damn.
And we'll see. This will be proof of concept.
Can I see? Oh, I'm going to thumbs up. I'm going to thumbs up this
You
live
give
stream.
it a thumbs down. It was you! Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about Patreon, because Patreon is about to unfreeze. So if you know anything about what we've been doing, if you don't, welcome. You're new. That's great. Welcome. We have a very sweet community, and we're fairly sweet people, I think.
Depends on the day, but yeah.
I think overall we're pretty through and through
General
sweet
vibe.
people. Yeah.
General vibe is sweet, yeah.
But this last month, we felt the need to kind of just recuperate and figure out what our multimedia experience was like, what it was like, how we wanted to move forward with leading this community that we've been building, on YouTube, on Patreon, on Discord, really on Discord now. That's like the heart of it. So again, go join the Discord. It's free. Why wouldn't you? I'll give that a little bit of a pitch. I've led artistic communities in the past in person, and we built starting from Patreon and then to YouTube and then to Discord and all that. We built our artistic community around experiences I've had, lessons I've learned through that, and I feel really proud of the Discord as a space that really emulates a physical art community. So if you've been feeling like, I have this art I want to share, I feel like I don't have anybody to talk to about this or art or that or music, or I want to send my really great selfie to someone, we have that for you. And I like to say that it's the most wholesome corner of the internet. It's at least the most wholesome corner that I've found. If somebody else has a better example.
We challenge you to make a more wholesome corner.
That's very true. That's very true. That's what I think we both believe that about artistic communities. What we build doesn't mean it's got to be the only thing out there. You can all build artistic communities yourselves, and we will support that. But in terms of what we have going, we're unfreezing Patreon. We've kind of like taken this month to figure things out, figure out the direction, figure out how to talk about it, move forward with it. It's also going to be coming up. It's going to be our 1-year anniversary on Patreon, which is absolutely wild. We opened up Patreon a year into thinking about it. So we've been thinking about Patreon and collaborating for 2 years. One of those years we've actually been doing it, but we're always thinking about it.
Yeah. This year's gone by quickly.
Yeah, well, there's
Like,
some reasons behind that, I guess. It's,
a lot has happened.
It's been a wild time.
Yeah.
A very heavy time, and truthfully, a time that without this artistic community, I definitely would not have survived the way that I've been able to survive. And I don't even mean like financially, I mean like my spirit, because having you who've been with us in my life, and this is like the real, true, heartfelt bit, has been super, super important for me. And I think the people who are in it, I hope you know that, because I try to say that as much as I can, that like it really keeps me going. You guys really keep me going. And yeah, this has been a really long year, really short year. I don't want to tease too much of that, because actually, so we opened up the Patreon on September 21st, 2019, and on September 21st, 2020, which is coming up, we're going to do a live stream that just talks about year in review and what's coming next. A couple special guests, not really guests, a couple special unveilings. Sweet. But anyway, yeah, so here's time to
We announce our retirement.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna be great.
Get your downvotes ready.
Yeah.
So Patreon. So we're unfreezing Patreon, and all the things that we'd let you have access to for the month of Patreon publicly, it's got to go away now. You obviously understand the reasons behind that. We really wanted to give the public access to submitting to the Let's Talks and changing the space so that it could be a longer period of time, and we could exhaust ourselves in this time that was supposed to be like recuperating, because we just love you all so much, and we wanted to see your art, and we wanted each other to see each other's art. But now it's going to be patron only again. So any subscription level from the studio on gets access to submitting work for Let's Talks.
Yep.
They're going to be a little shorter again, so it's going to be first come, first serve. It'll be about half an hour. We have our Let's Fix It series again coming back, which is to our office hours tier only. That I want to talk about for a second. I've managed to actually...
We're staying on target.
Nice.
Also, I want to address the fact that everyone's bullying me for my aspect ratios. If I could make this 21:9, I would, but I don't know how to.
We just put like cardboard. That would be so funny.
Oh my god. Don't try me.
Yeah. Totally derailed.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I want to push the office hours tier for a moment. I know that money is tight for everybody, and that's completely understandable. That being said, money is also tight for me. But really, like, what I want to talk about with Patreon is that the funds that we're getting from membership are going right back into the community. Mm-hmm. The time that I'm able to spend, with our moderators on Discord, the time that we're able to spend creating Great Beyond series or doing our live streams, the time we're able to spend curating how and when the Let's Talk series goes and like what that looks like. This is all, there's overhead for that. There's necessary time spent, energy spent, even just in needing to buy coffee or needing to buy a Larabar so I can not like fall over from like hunger, I need some Larabars. But seriously, like, we don't talk about this a lot, but one of the things that we offer in the office hours is the Let's Fix It's, which are really intimate conversations, video conversations with our patrons, where they can ask us, how do you do this? How do you do that? And we can talk about it. But we also offer the Resident Artist series, which is once a month we get together, remotely, of course, on an audio conversation, and we talk to an esteemed guest that we've curated again, we've figured out. We've had multiple conversations leading up to that in private to do a conversation with these artists, and we pay them. We pay them in honorarium. So I just want to be transparent and say, one of the things, the way that we pay them is through Patreon. So every aspect of this community is run by you. And that's just to say that as we open back up in a couple days, we would be honored to know that you are supporting us through your actions, through being part of our community, but also if you have funds to share through that as well, so that we can stay afloat. And I think I've taken us to noon. So I think it's. Do you have anything else
Yeah.
you want to plug on the front end? Now that I've made everyone leave the chat.
No, I think that's about it.
I'm trying very loosely to keep on top of comments, but I'm not doing a great job, to be completely honest.
We have our mods doing comments. Don't worry about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I see at least 3 mods right now.
Well, two of our mods are bullying me about my aspect ratios, but
I guess they're allowed to. Oh, I see.
it's
4
fine.
mods.
It's fine, Austin. It's fine.
Yep, I see.
Fine, Zarif.
I see Anik, Zarif, Austin, and
Totally fine.
Neil. Hello to our mods.
What's up, dudes?
Thank you guys for being here.
Should we just? Should we just
Oh geez.
Should we just do it?
Oh lord.
Should I leave the chat?
I think, guys, mods, you got this. You got this. Leave the chat. This is the ultimate trust.
We disconnect, if
Somebody
anything
text
becomes
me.
choppy,
Yeah.
text,
You just
Discord.
Message me on Discord because I'm looking at it for the
Anything.
questions right now. Yeah.
If there's any issue,
Yep.
just let me know. This is
Yeah.
a very blind leap of faith right here.
Yeah.
Ooh, I really don't like this.
Okay, so let's do it.
Cool.
We have a lot of questions to get through. I'm gonna set a timer.
Going to the tippity top.
Let's do like half an hour straight through. Take a break. I'm thinking actually taking a break might mean that we pause the stream. That way we can upload in 2 chunks. We can think about that as we go, because you might hate that idea. Your silence speaks volumes.
Yeah, I'm not sure
That's
how I
fine.
feel about that yet.
Think about it.
I'll
All right.
think about it.
Brandon and Jacob, this is from Austin. Austin asked a lot of questions. Thanks, Austin. Brandon and Jacob, how did you guys meet each other and become such close friends? You want to take that?
Sure. So, being homeschooled is not the right word because I wasn't. But being like taught, just being on the road as a kid, and also just like being an actor when I was younger, I sort of would do school through like teachers or people who are just exceptionally fucking smart for their age. And Jake was science and I don't even know like what.
All right, so I think to give a little context too, like, no, you weren't homeschooled by the normal means, but like you were literally
Yeah.
homeschooled. I was
Yeah.
also actually homeschooled. I'm a couple years older than Brandon, and basically my thing, I started tutoring when I was fairly young, and my thing was that I was really interested in helping kids learn how to learn. Which is, I think, innately a homeschooled trait that you can. If you
feel
had a
that,
good
yeah,
experience
yeah.
homeschooling, you really learn how to learn.
Okay.
It's something I feel pride about. I think you can learn it other ways for sure, but I know that my experiences gave me those tools. And so when I started tutoring, the subtext on the little thing I hung outside my door. That's a bad metaphor, but like,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
shingle, whatever you
I'm
call
following. I'm following. Yeah.
was like, you know, I'll teach your kids how to learn. I'll learn your kids.
I feel like I could see the font.
So I might have started with like math or science, but what ended up happening is basically I ended up consuming like all aspects of helping you learn stuff, because I would just come over and like, you had a lot of other tutors doing a lot of other specific stuff,
Yeah.
but like we ended up just kind of like learning a bunch of random shit, and we
Yeah.
do English and we do science and math, and we
We
built a
launched off
rocket together.
rockets,
Yeah,
yeah,
we did that. That was
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
And then eventually I stopped really directly. I think I'm kind of taking this by accident
No, it's
now,
okay.
but like
It's okay.
I ended up not teaching him as much as like just doing things with him, and we became friends, and
Yeah.
like he taught me how to sail, and we started running. I had been a runner, I think, before you.
I
We
actually
started
thought
running
about
together.
that more last night.
Yeah.
I think you are actually the person who sort of got me into running from
I
the
think that's
get-go.
true, yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, we've been through a lot.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been a lot of years of learning
Yeah,
a lot of new stuff.
and
from each other.
really that's what it is, like learning from each other. So
Yeah.
this kind of like preempts other questions we've gotten, but like the evolution of this space kind of was sort of in reflection of our friendship, and like
Yeah.
you know, the Great Beyond series, the dream for that is basically how do we take that friendship, that very specific unique experience that we've had together, and kind of like turn it into a tangible object, right? So just like the learning together, the exploring, the like laughing about random shit and like make that into videos. But yeah, so that's cool. We've done one question.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, Brandon, what made you start a YouTube channel, and also why about tech?
So we did, full disclosure, we did a little bit of a dry run last night. So I
Dress
sort
rehearsal.
of, I was able to think about these questions a little bit more overnight. But
Which is good. Otherwise, this would have taken about 7 hours to answer. So.
yeah. But I think probably the way of answering this without going on to a tangent, I was really bored in like the last year or so of college, and I wanted to take some of the stuff that I had learned like through like art and that type of thing, and sort of translate it to video and share it with the internet, because I'd never done that before at that point. And that just kind of led into an evolving spiral. But tech specifically, because it was at that point, it was kind of like one of the few markets on YouTube that like wasn't too overly saturated at that point. Like there was still a space for different kind of creation in tech, and I felt like in a lot of ways, not to say like it was an easy barrier to entry, but like for me it just felt like I could find my voice a lot easier in that space. So ultimately that's why tech. Okay. Jacob with a P. There's a Jacob. It's like ketchup, but
Okay, we've done 2 questions.
yeah. What was it like making and releasing your first album?
Spit take. I don't know why I would spit take. Yeah, so it was really powerful.
Well, when was it?
Okay.
What year?
So the first album, if we're talking about like my more recent works, the first album that I made, which I guess that is like the first biggest thing I've made and released.
Okay.
That was 2018. That was August 17th, 2018.
Okay.
Took me about a year and a half. Oh, took me about a year and a half to make. I'm realizing that that's significant because this last thing that I just made took about a year and a half to make. Yeah, so that one took about a year and a half. It's like a little more loose because I really didn't know I was going to make an album. I think that's what happens. I guess that's like the very vague, like the teaser to this answer, which is I make stuff. It's taken me a long time to realize that I just make stuff because I have to make stuff. And like wherever I am in life, the stuff that I make is reflecting who that is. I think that's true of everybody, but that's a different conversation. I think also with every piece that you make or every series that you make, it's at once the most difficult thing you've ever done and the easiest thing you've ever done. And I think it's the easiest thing in reflection sometimes, where you look at it and once it's out of you, you're like, I can't imagine a world where that wasn't in existence. So yeah, I don't know. I think that it was really important. Austin, it's like sometimes I don't know if you are like loading the question because maybe you know something, maybe you don't, and that's why you're asking it. But
Austin knows too much.
Austin's an astute person. Like I don't think I give Austin too much credit when I say that like he knows what's up, you know. But I wrote that album. I had never used my voice to tell a story before. I had never used my voice to make art before. And so it was incredibly scary. Like, just incredibly fucking scary to release that. And it was so, once I did it, it was so, like, healing. But again, everything I've made since and everything I made before has been the hardest thing I've ever made. So yeah, I'll try to keep it at that.
Well, it's like the vulnerability that you must feel after spending that much time on a project too.
Oh yeah.
Like I just spend like what, a couple weeks on a video, but like to spend that period.
Well, I'm feeling that again. I mean,
like
that's like a little bit of a teaser.
Huge.
I'm feeling it again. I've spent a year and a half to finish this next album, that
Like
I've
that
made.
is your
This will be
literal child.
my third. Yeah, no, really, that's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's sort of like I don't know and I'll never know, and I shouldn't use this comparison of like childbirth, but it is creating something, and there is pain to that, and
Yeah.
there's beauty, and there's euphoria, and so all that I can imagine goes into childbirth, and the complexities of that feels sort of almost comparable. Because it's something that lives on its own. You make it, and then it exists, and you know that,
Yeah.
you know that, right? And many of you know that as creators. You make something, and then you are not in control of that. Once it is part of the culture, it's part of the art, the ocean of art,
Mm-hmm.
It's just there. It's just there. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It's like left the coop. So yeah, so now I cultivate this thing, and then I have to release it. I'm like, wow. Okay.
You have to let it fend for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Dylan,
yes, no?
You answer that first, because I have a better answer. Is yes, no?
I think it depends on the situation.
Okay.
But I think a yes can be a no.
But a no, Dylan, this is your uncle speaking. A no can never be a yes. That's a violation of consent. It's an issue. Do not ever take a no to mean yes. If somebody says no, or if somebody means no, take it at no. That's it. No is never yes, but a yes can be no.
The only thing I'm going to add to this is I say this thing a lot where it's like, yeah, no.
So you're just confusing everybody.
So I don't know what my stance is on this question.
You
But...
can't speak on this, I think. Okay. Brandon and Jacob, with both having a personal friendship as well as a professional one running the studio, what do you guys generally do so that you guys stay on task without one just daydreaming off into oblivion?
I mean, I will try and answer this first, but I think first thing is like having some form of a framework going into the week in terms of like what objective you have, whether that's a video, whether that's a shoot, whether that's whatever it is.
We have a whiteboard right here. It's
We
just
have
on
a
a frame.
whiteboard. It's
Whiteboards
like
are awesome.
constantly shifting, constantly being written
Yeah.
on. And like obviously week to week is just a very different situation because we have a lot of things sort of going on, juggling. So yeah, just having a loose concept of what you want through that week is very important to me.
But really, I mean, that kind of gets at it too, which I'm sure this is going to be the answer to a lot of questions that we get moving forward. But like communication is key.
Yeah.
Having a personal friendship, a professional friendship, a relationship, like any type of relationship is a relationship, right? Like it doesn't have to be romantic to be a relationship. And like all of these relationships we have require so much fucking work. I feel like this is a tangent, but like I feel like people maybe don't realize that sometimes, that like every relationship we have, my relationship to all of you, requires so much work, and it's like good work. It's necessary work, but it requires so much work. And the way that we cultivate that, the way that we nourish that work is communication. So I think we went into this professional friendship, this professional relationship, being like, okay, this is like we're laying it all out on the table. This is like a lot of shit, Yeah. And you still find moments where it's like it can be rough and it can be scary to do that. But I think the other thing, this is an answer that I gave when we were doing our dress rehearsal yesterday. But like, I usually show up to the studio a little earlier than Brandon. I usually like jot down what I want done in the day. And then Brandon comes in, and it's like he kicks the door down.
A fucking tornado.
And he like runs in, and he just doesn't even say hi. He just starts shouting like things he wants to do. And then I get the chance to also start shouting things I want to do at him. And we just start yelling at each other.
Wild experience.
And it's like that's like the first like 15 minutes. And I'm realizing now that maybe we're both like dogs, because you know how like when you come home to a dog and a dog's just like, I haven't seen you in a while, and just starts freaking out.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we do.
Just like running around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just barking.
Yeah.
Man.
Also, we are still live, so I know
that's good. That's
concern.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Shiva asks, Brandon, how did you meet and start working with Marquez? What an original question.
He offered me a job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brandon and Jacob, how did you guys come to the discussion of making a Patreon and community around it? And how did you come up with the name Aftershow?
So we started to answer that question a little bit, but I'll go a little more into that. So
yeah.
Like, we decided to do Patreon because I kind of bullied you into doing a Patreon, I think. I don't remember the logistics of it, but
I think I had just like a really nasty taste in my mouth.
Yeah, a lot of people did,
Patreon.
and maybe people still do, and that's fine. That's where the downvotes come from.
But it's what you make of the service, what you make of the platform.
So we wanted to start by, again, how the sausage is made. We started the Aftershow as Brandon's Patreon, and we did that deliberately because nobody in this sphere knew who I was, and we thought it would be stupid to make a space that was an exclusive paid space where it was like this dude and this schmuck. And
see, that would have been a better name.
This dude and the schmuck, yeah. And so we started it around Brandon, and that let us also give ourselves the time to figure out, explore within the Fix It in Post, which was the original live stream series that we did. It's very Brandon based. It's very critique of Brandon's work, and it let us kind of get the feel for what it is like to live stream. We've talked about this many times within the last few months, coming up on the year, but like I don't think either of us expected to be people who would like live streaming, and now I can't imagine not live streaming.
I mean, I think, just speaking for myself, it felt daunting at the start.
It felt
but now
it feels very natural.
Like, instant communication is actually really nice.
It's very nice. And it's nice because you guys decide to like us.
Exactly.
Which is very sweet.
I don't know why, but maybe.
But I think in the after show, like, that's the second part. I don't really remember.
I think I just threw it out one day, and we were like, that's weird but not awful.
Yeah, we had like at first we thought Brandon and Jacob and the Great Beyond might be like the Great Beyond might be the name of it, or like the After Show might be the name of the series we did. We were like, we had a lot of names going on, and eventually we chose the After Show.
The idea of like grabbing a drink with a rock star. Not that I'm a rock star or anything,
but like
maybe
because the After Show.
Oh God!
Oh man!
Oh Jesus!
I'm sure that sounded really
so
bad.
Sorry
everybody's ears.
Specifically Austin.
No, but like the After Show is everything about the After Show is the idea that it's where we meet after we're doing our own business. Like, it's the space that we come together to hang out. Yeah. After I'm making music and you're making video and things like that. So that was kind of the origin of the After Show. Who do you consider your inspiration? Who do you look up to? Greg. Thank you, Greg, for questions. I'm trying to thank everybody. Austin, Dylan, Zarif, Shiv, Greg. Thank you so far.
These are fun questions.
Yes.
So we were talking about this yesterday, and I think I kind of discovered something about myself in trying to answer this question, but I don't really necessarily look up to people as much as I just do art, or like the thing that those people make. And I think, like, in that sense, there's like a lot of artists that I am a huge fan of, just in terms of like the things they've created and how that sort of inspires me. But I guess, like, I mean, the first, like, somewhat, I guess, like, ultra sweet answer is, like, obviously my parents. But I think also just, like, on a professional level, I really look up to Dieter Rams and the creations that he's made. And I don't know, Frank Lloyd Wright, to another extent, too. Like, these are very different people within design, but, like, their creation is something that I think about almost on a daily basis. So I think that's how I'm going to answer that question.
Okay. So, knowing that we have other questions that are more related to art inspiration, I think I'm going to give a more general answer for this one. I'm going to be a wild card.
Okay.
So, I was just thinking about how there are a couple things that I really relate to that inspire me for specific reasons. And it's not people, it's experience. It's usually like greater than people experiences. One of them is like the idea of like space travel. Years ago, like I remember 5 years ago, it was 2015, and like one of the Voyager spacecrafts passed Pluto and took photos and sent photos. I was in Canada at the time. I was working on a farm in Quebec, and I watched the live stream of it, and I just fucking sobbed. I just sobbed. And it's like a funny thing, because like in one sense you could be like, why? But to me, it's the investment, the complexity of that word, right? The investment of money, of time, of energy, of brain power, of resources, of interdisciplinary access to create something that like made by all of humanity, powered by humanity, for the express good of humanity. That, man, that just fucks me up, you know? And in the same sense, looking outward like that, there's another one that does it to me. A couple years later, I was traveling through the heart of the country, and I was in Indiana, driving through Indiana, and I passed this area. I told you this a little while ago. I passed through this area where there were it was a wind field. It was just wind turbines.
Yes.
Literally as far as I could see in every direction. It was plain, so it was flat, and I could, like, it was over the horizon, so there were parts of there. I could see some wind turbines where I could only see parts of them passing over.
Yeah.
Every direction.
Yeah.
Every direction.
Yeah.
And I just thought about, you know, even if that's for monetary gain, which of course it is, like, it's still the fact that we've done it, and that we're doing it, and that we're trying to innovate in those ways. And that really inspires me. And in the same sense, you know, civil rights activists, social justice activists, like activism, seeing moments of activism, people coming together, people raising each other up, you know, intersectional activism, where we're raising each other up, not just ourselves up. It's like, that's really inspiring to me. And so that's like a convoluted answer, because it's obviously not an answer about art, but that kind of thing really inspires what I try to be in the world as an artist, as a maker, as a community member, community leader. So it's a really long-spoken answer, sorry.
I mean, I like that way of answering, though.
Cool.
Very different. What would you consider to be the best moment in both your careers so far?
Okay.
So far.
If I don't say this collaboration, I'll get fired.
Oh.
You're like leaving this place.
No, I think the best experiences, I think especially like the older I've gotten and the more I've gotten grounded in like who I am, powered by community, powered by small scale interaction, you know, it's smaller performances. It's like, was it the beginning of last year? Yeah. Beginning of last year, I performed in New York City with this dance company I've been working with over the last couple of years, and we performed like the first half of this full-length performance that they've been creating, that we've been creating together, and we performed it as like a I don't even, like, just basically like not a teaser. They had a term for it, I can't remember, but yeah, like just a first preliminary showing of like an unfinished work, and we showed it to like 30 people, and that was one of the biggest experiences of my life. Like I've done other things in New York, but like that was so intimate and it was so personal. People came to that. People showed up for me, for my music, to surround them, you know, like,
yeah.
And I got to play live, so it was my music, and then I played on top of it live, and it was like,
yeah,
man, that was big, because you can think about it, you can fantasize about what you want, and then you can experience what you've always wanted, and you're like, I want to do this forever. So that was probably the biggest so far.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do another one this year, and then we
COVID.
couldn't. So we're holding off, but the finished work is pretty much there. We have pretty much a finished work. So whenever we can,
there it is.
Got a full length work we can start showing. How about you?
For me, it was realizing that it's probably maybe a cop-out answer, but it's like, for me, it was realizing that I could actually make a career out of this was probably the best moment of my career, just in knowing that like I could actually pay bills and like sustain myself doing what I love.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I feel that.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's freeing in a sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, this thing that I've wanted to do for so long.
Yeah.
I could actually I could call my job.
Well, in that way, I'll answer it in a way that helps me not get fired, which is actually like, I there were so many different times in my life, I started out, this is a longer answer than you wanted, but I started out just composing and then in visual art and then back to music, and all the while I was doing this other thing that was more practical, professional, being a sound person, and I was never sure how I would integrate that. And then my art, I started to be able to integrate it, like my actual heady, weird art. I started to be able to use those tools, and then we decided to start working together. And I've been able to use my music making, my art knowledge, and my sound all in one place, and it's
and sculpture.
And sculpture. Oh yeah, there's sculptures and stuff.
sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sculpt my body. I sculpt my body for you. That gets ahead of another question.
What's your workout routine?
Brandon, what was the moment you realized you wanted to make videos for a living?
Ooh.
That's kind of related to the last answer you gave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even remember how I answered. I feel like I answered this profoundly yesterday, but
should have recorded ourselves.
I think for me, realizing that like people actually cared about what I put on the internet, like that satisfaction in knowing that like all the work and time you're putting into these projects like are actually like doing something bigger than just being posted, like that for me is like a constant stimulation. And I think like ultimately at the very beginning it was like, okay, I really genuinely enjoy this. I could see myself doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I think, I think that's probably my answer. Okay. When was the first time, this is for you, when was the first time you made music? The first time you realized music, the first time you realized music is the thing you were born to make.
Yeah, so I started thinking of an answer last night. And I have like so many directions I could go. So I started playing music when I was like 13 or 14, with my older brother Jared's acoustic guitar. I just borrowed it and started noodling around. My fingers hurt so much, and as they always do. And I started playing, and I started thinking about, it's almost like I was reinventing the wheel, right? I just didn't have context, but I was basically like, I know that there are chords, and there are big structures here, and there are big ideas here, compositions and motifs and things. I didn't really know those words at the time, but like there are these big things. But what if I could elicit emotion in one note, or in one note played after the other? And I was talking about melody. Like I was reinventing these concepts. You never know where that's coming from, you know? Mm-hmm. That was the first time I really started playing music, but fast forward to a bunch of years later, and I was composing. I was writing music for ensemble pieces to be in school for that kind of thing, and working in that kind of way. And I remember showing my mom like a draft of a piece. It was an ensemble piece using like MIDI instruments, like software that I would write, and then it would play it out. And it was like a very complex piece. And I remember showing my mom this piece, and it was like 3 or 4 minutes long. And when it finished, she just sat there, and then she looked at me and she said, "This is the kind of thing you've always made." And I was like, what? Because I've been somebody that's very insecure about that, and like I've always felt like I'm somebody who's come late to my mediums. I don't really feel like that anymore. I don't really think about it anymore. But I used to kind of beat myself up in contrast to people who like started playing cello when they were 3, like that. I always felt like, oh, I'm like late to the party. But yeah, she just looked at me and she was like, "You've always done this." And I was like, "I don't really know what you mean." She was like in everything you've done, like I used to, this is the answer to another question later on, I think, but like my first art form, I always consider it was Lego. I started playing Lego when I was like 4, and I really considered it like this is my art form. It was the first thing I ever experienced in my life where I was like, I take this seriously. I have to practice at this, you know? Because I was like thinking
That's
about
fantastic.
new ways I could innovate. I would spend literally like 4 hours every day just with Legos in my
Beautiful.
room by myself.
Fucking beautiful.
But she just like, she was basically talking about like even the sounds I made as a child, like babbling, which is like a funny thing. Your song sounds like babbling, but like the ways that I would just make noise or play with noise or do things like that, and so that like they really kind of like retrofit my memory or my lack of memory and made me realize like, oh, we really are always through and through the same people. You know, we grow, but we don't generate from nothing. Like, so evidently something's been there the whole time. That really didn't answer your question. When did I realize that music was the first time or the thing I was born to make? I think probably more as a community artist did I realize that I needed to come back to music because I was made to make art with other people. I think I have so many examples that I could give, and all of them are going to take too much time. You can ask me a different time, Greg. I'll tell you any day. But
I feel like that goes for all of these questions. Like,
yeah,
could probably go on for a solid like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
With each question.
Yeah.
We'll save you. How are you guys so jacked? What's your workout routine?
So Brandon stacked the deck with this one. He tweeted this out, and
I'm not gonna say that I did, but I did. Well, you see. No, working out has become a very, well, not new thing. It's probably been like, what, half a year of just like actually,
like seriously working out.
yeah.
All right, so that's
Already been half an hour.
That's our half-hour timer. But we'll keep
Yeah.
going, and as long as you guys are okay, we'll keep going. I'm gonna set another half hour.
Sounds good. But you know, for me, it's kind of just turned into like a stress reliever kind of thing, and also like the routine of it is kind of nice. But usually just like 30 minutes a day, you know, the usual. But thank you so much for asking that question. It's really wonderful that you asked that question.
So I now have to answer it.
I think we do. I'm just gonna go through the next one.
I don't know. I've been a runner for a long time, and I've like come in and out of running within the last couple of years, relating to it differently. I've been starting to run more again. It's meditative. It's really important for me to do something meditative. Having this space, sharing this space with you, and then like you starting to work out more. I've been starting like to do similar workouts, if not the same workout with you. And it's just nice to feel. I think like you, I like the mental stress of working out. It's not even about the physical stress. It's about challenging my mental ability. Like yesterday, instead of lifting with higher weights like we've been doing, I lifted with like really low weights, like an insane amount of times, and it was like a very different mental stress. And it's like a meditation. Like I was doing this thing, and I would get to a point where I was like, do I need to stop? And I would think, no, my body doesn't need to stop. And I went and did like 3 times more the reps. So I don't know. I really like the meditation of it all.
That's fair.
That's it.
Who are your art hero, or I can't read today. Who are the art heroes you look up to?
Oh no, Neil is typing right now. No.
Oh no.
That's fine. Art heroes I look up to. Ay. So many.
Yeah.
Again, I think my answer is going to be the same as before with Gorang's question, which is like, right now, the artists that inspire me are the artists that are alive right now, that choose to use their art as a form of statement or a form of activism or a form of community building. I know that there are a lot of a lot of my peers, a lot of people that I've met who I'm good friends with, which is like an incredible honor, who choose to make art alongside their activism, and that's crazy. Yeah, that's a vague answer, but that's the answer I'm going to give right now.
Fair enough. For me, my answer is a lot more shallow than that. So there's a lot, but Wes Anderson is one person that I really look up to. And Labyrinth is another one. As I mentioned before, Dieter Rams, Frank Lloyd Wright.
Wes Anderson's funny because there's Wes Anderson the cinematographer, and then there's Wes Anderson the storyteller. And I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson the cinematographer. And in my recent years, I've gotten less of a fan of Wes Anderson the storyteller. I think his storytelling. I think he doesn't realize the impact of storytelling, and that's a little fucky for me.
It's interesting how certain artists like lean into abstract a little too hard.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of like negative space for them in storytelling is kind of like a fascinating concept, and I feel like Wes Anderson in a lot of ways like overshoots in terms of like trying to be vague.
Yeah.
Or like he goes just ultra super literal to the point where you focus on the wrong things.
I think Wes Anderson could use a good therapist, just like everybody could. Like, we all could use a good therapist.
Yeah.
But like I think Wes Anderson as a story. I think any storyteller needs to be in charge of every element of storytelling as it pertains to culture. And I think the thing that pisses me off about Wes Anderson, the storyteller, is there are things that he wants to play with that he does not know what he's playing with.
Interesting.
And that pisses me off.
Interesting.
I don't like the way he portrays women in his stories.
Oh.
It annoys me in a big way.
That's a fascinating argument. Yeah.
But Wes Anderson, the cinematographer, absolutely amazing and a big hero.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, that's a composition. I feel that too, because it's like cinematography is composition. Cinematography is choreography. I mean, like it's time based.
Well, it's like
design.
Fincher. It's Wes Anderson is old school Fincher. Like in the concept of like embracing choreography with camera movement.
Yeah, definitely.
And like it's fascinating to see like each style influence each other in a sense.
Yeah. So also, Wes, I'm not trying to put you on blast if you're watching.
Yeah, Wes.
I love you a lot.
Yeah.
But if you want to like hit me up, we can have a conversation. I'll give you a couple good names for some
therapists. Also, you want to come to Jersey?
Yeah, well, in a little while.
Get some diner coffee.
Yeah. Drink of choice.
Wine.
I like wine too. I'm gonna cater this answer to Doug. And say sake. I haven't had sake in a long time, but Doug and I really like drinking sake together.
Are you a warm sake kind of guy or a cold sake?
Well, warm sake. So for me, drinks. This kind of answer is going to get old probably for a lot of you, but like to me, everything's ceremony, and everything should be treated as such. And there are things that we culturally feel are ceremony. Drinking is a ceremony.
Yeah.
So the sake is built around like the ceremony of making it warm, and that's like a very fun ritual. Okay. I have like the heating devices and the little things.
Okay.
And it's so wonderful. And like on a cold day, you come in and you drink some warm sake. Nothing beats that.
Fair enough.
Cold sake is fine if you just want to get drunk, and it's fine.
I mean.
Also mead. That's probably my other favorite.
Oh.
Honey wine.
Interesting.
That stuff makes me feel like I could lift a house.
Very interesting.
Yeah, something about honey. I mean, I just love honey anyway, but...
I'm also a Scotch guy. Yeah.
Can't drink it.
Oh, true.
Favorite animal?
So, again, this is another answer that took me a long time to figure out yesterday. But I landed on deer. I did land on deer. I find deer to be majestic and beautiful and wonderful creatures. And their temperament can be absolutely astonishing. But I love all animals, except for mosquitoes. So,
I want to give a taste of an answer, and then, because I have a better answer that pertains to another question later. So I'm going to say, Doug, I'm going to tell you that my knee-jerk reaction was bear, because that's something I used to think about more actively. I don't really think about that kind of thing actively, but still passively. There's something so beautiful about like the strength that is not necessarily perpetually aggressive, but just a present strength. In the same way, like bull or deer, like deer are so powerful because like, wow, like they are nothing but strength. But I have a story about big cats, and I think that there's something very powerful about like prowling cats. So I'm going to leave it at that for the moment.
Favorite side of the stove to cook on?
So when I cook, I usually am taking up the entire space because I'm making 3 or 4 things at once. But I was thinking about this because Doug asked this like a week ago, I think, more than that. And I was cooking this morning, and I was thinking that I actively cook on the right side when I have when I have a countertop that I can be cutting things on, and then I usually, if I'm heating something up like pasta or a sauce or a satay that then I'll add to, I cook on the left side. So it's active here, passive here, and then if I have to switch, I switch. But I think it's just because I'm right-handed.
I'm a lefty. I go left, and then
You're actually righty, right?
I'm kind of like both, depending on the thing.
Yeah.
But
You choose to write with your right hand, right?
yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
But I will, like, every once in a while just like have my preparation on the right, and then just go for the action on the left.
Yeah. So okay,
Yes.
similar. I'm gonna make sure that we're still live.
We are.
It does look like we're still
Thank you,
live.
checking
Nice,
back.
nice.
Okay, Jacob, how do you get inspiration to make and write music?
So
These questions are very loaded.
This is one that I preliminarily answered yesterday, and we realized that I'm going to answer the same type of question the same type of way. But some of you may know this from previous things I've talked about. I really need to be able to reflect. I think that being just in my life, I'm making my music. Being in my day, I'm making my music. Taking in information and giving myself the time necessary to process that, I'm making my music. But the process that can be vague. And so one of the things I like to joke about, but it is very true for who I am, is that one of the most direct, like, if I need like a quick injection of like creativity in my life, I will take my journal, I will leave my phone, I will go into the woods, I'll wander around, passing through that threshold of like feeling at odds with the space you're in, to the point where I just feel like I'm just in it, which the more I do it, the easier it gets for me to just become like there. And then I'll usually start mumbling. Maybe I'll mumble it like a mushroom. Maybe I'll like squat down and look at some ants and feel like I want to cry because it's so beautiful. And sometimes I'll take my clothes off and walk around the woods. And usually by the end of that experience, a couple hours, I have some extra pages in my journal.
So you can't do that in Philly.
Well, you can.
I mean, you can.
So that's my quick answer for you.
Yeah.
What's the tastiest Dbrand skin to eat?
The pastels, link in the bio.
Of course.
Does
Does it be a do?
it does be a do, but sometimes, only sometimes, depends on the situation. Does yes be a do? Does yes be do a yes?
I think so.
Dude, it's too early.
I think so. I'd say so.
Does yes do be a...
What's the color of your toothbrush?
Blue,
Blue.
like my soul.
Yep. Also blue.
Both.
Have you
you
guys
guys tried?
You want to both ask at the same time? Ready?
Have you
1,
guys-
2, 3. Have you
have you
both
guys
got
both-
to try the Coca-Cola? That didn't work.
This is great. Have you guys both tried the Coca-Cola Tic Tacs?
No.
No, I have not had sugar in 6 months.
Yeah.
But I want to.
I-
Badly.
I have like bad sense memory from Coca-Cola because I can't do high fructose corn syrup. I learned that a couple years ago. Actually, a bunch of years ago. I haven't had high fructose corn syrup in like 10 years. When I have high fructose corn syrup, I get like a migraine and like a stomach grain. But
Very cinematic.
yeah, but I think that literally just thinking about the smell of Coca-Cola, my stomach hurts. So
Really?
yeah.
Interesting.
So maybe I would love to try a Coca-Cola Tic Tac. It sounds like it's probably good. Probably spicy. in a
Sounds
fun
like
way.
an interesting time.
Like cinnamon almost.
Yeah.
Brandon, what's it like to work under the guy whose middle name's Keith?
It's cool.
Oh.
What is your primary source of creative? Oh, he
This was edited.
crossed that out.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow! I didn't know you could do that. Jacob, have hardships in your life helped/hindered you in terms of creative inspiration? Helped/hindered you in terms of creative inspiration?
Okay, how much time you got? Because yes, to both. Yes, to both. I think that every what was the question? Every hardship that I've encountered that now helps me, at one point it hindered me. And that doesn't mean that every hardship that hinders you has the possibility to help you. I don't want to make that claim because that makes it seem like anybody can come out of something. There are just things that are unconscionable. I get that. But the hardships that I've experienced in my life, as somebody who thinks a lot about story and knows, like, I've learned how to deal with those, and I've been graced with a type of hardship that I guess I can navigate through to become less hindering. They've all become empowering, many of them, if not all of them. And much of that comes from the ability, the feeling and the need to be vulnerable in the way that I think about it and the way that I tell it and share it. So I definitely have a lot of experiences. You can ask me after this live stream about ways that I have had, seriously serious hardships that at once made my being and making very, very hard, and now don't. And it's taken a lot of time, and I like to think, I don't know why this metaphor always comes, I haven't spent enough time with this metaphor to make it sound elegant. I'll keep working on that for you, but I think about the way that we relate to things in terms of, like, very often it's a knee-jerk reaction as a human to want to close a fist, thinking that doing that or strengthening down or getting stiff is the right way to feel defensive or to respond.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we close ourselves off to the possibilities. And I think that it's so counterintuitive, but the feeling of opening up that palm or opening up your chest and exposing your soft innards, that is so powerful, not just for your physical health or for anxiety, for your stress, but literally for the ability to reprocess things that you've dealt with. So it's been really hard, but every time, now that I've done it a lot of times, every time I experience those hardships, I think, is there a way that I can expose myself to the memory of that hardship and learn something from it? And again, I'm not sure that every hardship has a lesson to be learned, but the ones that I've encountered, I've been able to do that. So
I feel like it's a very topical question.
Yeah.
Right now, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a Q&A after this Q&A.
Oh my God.
Brandon, Jacob, can you guys learn salsa dancing for one of the Great Beyond episodes?
I would fucking love to.
As would I.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I think we both rock, like, long, flowy satin red dresses.
Oh.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, we would both absolutely just dominate the
Absolutely.
stage. Yes. All right, it's on.
Could
We'll
mine
do
be
it.
blue, though?
Okay, it's fine. Whatever.
Tiffany.
Little fire and ice.
Yes. Yes. Heaven and hell. You know.
Brandon, I ate my Dbrand skin and I'm having stomach problems. Help.
Just contact Dbrand support. They'll bully you. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Jacob, I want to learn making music. What software should I start learning with?
Okay. I'm going to keep this short. So, software, most of the free software you can access in terms of recording is great. If you have a Mac, GarageBand's awesome. I still use GarageBand. I love the challenge of using something that's free and fairly simple and minimal, because with the other knowledge I have and the other tools that I have, it makes me keep that one tool as just a receptacle for what I'm putting into it rather than a place for editing so much. But that being said, like, GarageBand has the ability, you can play MIDI instruments, you can just literally use your keyboard to be a keyboard. That's really fun. Like, the best tool for learning how to make music is to not think I'm doing this wrong. To just, like, especially, like, don't be afraid to hit the record button, try something out. It's not that hard. But in terms of music making and music learning, there's a reason why everybody and their mother plays guitar. It's quite an easy instrument to start, quite an easy instrument, low barrier to entry for some simple ideas like chords, like chord making and finger picking, doing things that they feel very fun and flourishy. Learn a guitar. They're fairly cheap. Find a $50 guitar from somewhere and jam out. I have like a $50 electric guitar that I found at a Guitar Center once, and I recorded on that for my first album. It was great. It sounds wild and grungy.
Grunge.
But yeah, just learn everything you can. Like, if you're thinking, how do I do this? Keep thinking, how do I do this? Even as you're finding answers, and keep using that question to fuel finding other ways to do it. I don't really have another answer for you.
I think that's a good answer.
But you're welcome to DM me later on, or ask me in the home chat, or ask me in the music chat. Ask me in the music chat.
Oh, right.
We have that now. On Discord.
Your favorite musician also could be a rapper.
Mm.
You go first.
Oh, favorite. How do you even say?
You see, I like the challenge of this question, though. It has to be one.
I know.
Like, I know you have a ton.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate enough to, like, have my all-time favorite.
Okay, and yours
Who's
is?
Labyrinth.
Right.
Labyrinth is my all-time favorite artist.
Yeah.
Ever. Fucking fantastic.
Oh. So, I'll give, like... Oh, man, I don't even know, dude. Like, favorite musician... Okay, I'll give a simple answer. It's also complex.
Okay.
Of course. When I was learning guitar, I started learning some jazz theory stuff, and it was right around that time that my mom bought me the deluxe edition, 50th anniversary deluxe edition of Miles Davis's Kind of Blue, which is an incredible album for jazz musicians. For a lot of jazz musicians, oh my God! Did somebody just ask a question? Oh no, it's a different channel. Whew. For a lot of jazz musicians, it's considered like one of the holy grails, because so many musicians were on it that were amazing in their own right and all had different aspects of being amazing. But when I heard that album for the first time, it answered that question that I already asked, that I shared with you before, which was I wanted to learn how a melody could evoke emotion, or how something with just a couple notes could evoke emotion. And Miles Davis, specifically on those arrangements, those ensemble pieces, the way that he played his notes and the way that even he took his solos, in contrast to people who were playing, like John Coltrane or Cannonball Adderley, who were playing like tons of notes at once, he would just, his solo might be 5 notes, and yet you just wanted it to fall on the ground. It was so powerful, and that really inspired me, and still inspires me. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you the minimalism, the like emotional maximalism within a minimalism of playing. So I think my simplest answer is Miles Davis on Kind of Blue.
Fair enough. Specific? Wow, very specific. I feel that. How did you know you wanted to become a full-time artist?
So I applied to college originally for pre-med. I had spent years... Oh, in the home channel, Anurag says, screen got dim.
Oh, that's just literally our lighting, man.
Oh, yeah.
Our natural light
Let's
is
see how
dying.
dim it is. Oh, it is very dim.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're fine.
Does it matter? Yeah. I mean, I guess I can just raise... no, I can't. Never mind.
You can turn the lights on?
That was
That'll look
short-lived.
really bad, right?
Yeah. I'd rather it just be dim.
Kind of moody.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short of it is when I was heading towards college for like the 6 years leading up to college, I wanted to go into medicine, and I wanted to do that because I was like, oh, I need to help people. I feel like I have the ability to learn this, the ability to challenge myself, to work in the moment, on the fly, in the heat of the moment, in tough situations. And so I felt like I owed it to the world to go into pre-med. And I was like, I'd already applied to colleges, and I woke up one morning after having applied to colleges, also knowing that I wanted to do music and make art and things like that. And I realized it was like I had this rude awakening where I just thought, there's no way I can do both of these things at once. And then I thought, well, shit, I don't think I can live a life where I can't make art.
Yeah.
And then I thought, it felt very selfish was what I was feeling at the time, but it was like, I think I need to make art. I think I'll die if I can't make art. So I think I need to not do pre-med. And it took me years to accept that fate. And now I realize that I still have far-flung impacts on people. I don't get to heal people in an emergency room or in surgical theater, but I'm still able to affect change, and that's kind of what keeps me going.
Yeah. On the opposite end for me, I grew up into a family of artists, so it was actually more of a choice for me to consider getting out of it and doing, like, for a while I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, and I guess you could, I don't know, I mean, being an architect, I guess, is an artist, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that wasn't really that far out, but I think for me, from the get-go, it's always been kind of just a thing for me to explore art and figure out what specifically in art I want to do. But yeah, growing up in more of a theater sense and like as a child actor, like it's just always kind of been a thing for me, which I'm very fortunate to have lived through, and like theater, which is questions that are asked later on, but theater has taught me so much, not only just about myself, but just about life in general, and has actually specifically taught me what it is to be an artist and what those responsibilities entail. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer this one. Brandon,
where are we?
Zarif. Brandon shows how to make things float. So, Zarif, I actually answered this question in our Patreon exclusive Office Hours Discord chat when I saw the question come in, because it was asked like right after the mods were invited to be mods, and with that our mods were also invited into all of our Patreon exclusive access. And so I was kind of like explaining that like something that we do is with our Let's Fix It's, this is a plug for Patreon, with our Let's Fix It's, we kind of invite days ahead of those video chats, we invite those spaces to be like, hey, what are you guys thinking about? Like, is there something you want to talk about or edit together with us? Is there something you're wondering, how do we do it? How would we do it? We did one recently that was like audio, all about audio.
Yeah.
So I said to Zarif, like, hey, if you want to we'll totally answer this on Let's Fix It if you want. So that might happen soon. Just talking about like the rundown on how to make something float.
It's all about thinking outside the box, being creative.
You got to make yourself bleed. It was not
this
one.
Oh, that's true.
It wasn't this one, as the next one. Is the iPhone 11 video we did. I made myself
Okay,
bleed
here's
for
a
it.
fun fact. Every single floating video of a phone has been different from one another. No two floating shots have been done the same way.
I'm really proud of the way we did it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Really innovative.
It was really fun.
I don't want to like pat myself on the back.
It was fraught with a lot of like complications. Yeah. But ultimately,
do we still have the tool we
most
made?
rewarding?
Do we throw it away?
That's a great question.
I feel like we considered throwing it away, and
they were just like, this took too much time and energy to.
I literally stabbed myself in the finger for it. Oh no, I cut myself with a saw blade. And
then we almost gave ourselves hernias.
Oh my god!
Screw it.
Yes.
From the
we literally had a workout.
Jesus.
We'll talk about that on the office hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Not to like just tease the answer.
Oh god! Why did it shoot me back to the beginning of messages?
Brandon, if you were to use one camera for anything and everything for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
It's probably going to be surprising, but an iPhone.
Which iPhone?
Probably an 11 Pro. Just because 3 different focal lengths, a lot of wonderful features, like night mode, but also portrait mode. And also it's just small photo files that are easy to edit and can very quickly be posted on the internet. I just think it's the easiest. Okay. Brandon Jacob. Is that where we are? Yeah. Yep. If you were able to travel 10 years back in time and meet your younger self, what piece of advice, or multiple pieces of advice, would you give? To yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to give that answer first? Because I think you've given a pretty good one.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple, but just don't listen to people. Don't fucking let noise get to you. Remain true to yourself. I guess it's probably my bit, but yeah.
I think I would say something similar, but I think mine would be like, you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be heard, and you don't take up space. I think that's probably what I would do.
This got deep.
Yeah. So now,
again, we need a sub Q&A for all of these Q&A. I feel like these small little answers aren't long enough to actually answer these questions.
I'm like realizing we're like halfway through it an hour.
Dude,
this is wild.
It's yeah.
Jake's gonna need to pee in a minute.
What made you stop playing World of Warcraft?
Okay, so I have like the simple, silly answer, and then I have like a heavy, deep one that is sad.
Oh
but
God.
Welcome to my life. The simple one is like, I don't know. I guess I like aged out of it or whatever. I don't really have a very good answer for that, but also it costs a lot of money. But the complex answer is it's like $15 a month.
Oh shit.
Yeah. If I could go back in time and I could have subscribed to our Patreon instead
You
of
could
World
have
of
subscribed
Warcraft.
to our Patreon for
Oh, man.
World of Warcraft.
I wasted so much money on. No, I like really enjoyed it for a couple years, and the biggest issue actually was my self-care, where the more I started to get into art, the more my art was connected to, if I'm not making, I'm not worthy, which is like a really shitty place for an artist to be. It's something that definitely the culture that we're part of like kind of imbues in you for I think a lot of people. So I got to this point where I would like try to let myself relax doing anything, and I had this little like almost like a
Just don't even.
Yeah,
just don't even.
I almost had this internal timer at like yeah at like literally like 10 minutes or 20 minutes where I would start to notice myself relaxing and enjoying what you're supposed to enjoy, like movie or playing World of Warcraft, and I would like, it was like I was coming out of water. I would be like and I would need to close it down because I felt like I can't let myself relax. I need to be making something to make sure that I'm worth something.
Fascinating.
It took me years. I did that. I was in that space, in that headspace for years, and it took at least 2 full mental breakdowns to get past that. One of them was sort of a long-term mental breakdown that I had a therapist who became a good friend and helped me to come out of that kind of thing, learn about myself. But even then, there were still things hidden in the rafters where I was not tending to myself. And I had a full-blown crisis on a plane, flying over the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
And lost my shit and came home and was in a bad way for a couple months, and then learned that I needed to really take care of myself and it was okay to relax. That was 5 years ago. So I probably could play World of Warcraft now if I wanted. I don't want to necessarily, but
We've come full circle.
But I've been playing Breath of the Wild. I haven't been a big gamer in my past, but my girlfriend Claire and I have been playing Breath of the Wild. It's a really good game.
I respect that. Brandon Jacob. Jacob. I keep saying Jacob.
It's okay.
I don't know why. How old are you guys? I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. I guess I
can answer that if you
all right,
want.
I'm 27.
Okay. What have you studied?
This is just you. What have you studied, and
Oh,
what
is
did you
this
decide
just
to
me?
get in this track? Yeah.
I studied art. I studied business. I studied
Sounds like you're yelling at them.
Theater.
Why are you yelling at them?
No, I studied acting for many years, and then in college I was a business major. Eventually, just like business management, that kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of art, and yeah, that's about it. It's a fun time. Brandon Jacob, can we be YouTube friends?
Yes.
Absolutely. Brandon, where did you learn to edit? Self-taught, primarily. but I also kind of like, I don't know, like, especially when you're in like a professional field with other people, you just like kind of learn through osmosis in a way, like through other people. So like some of like the first jobs I had in video, like where I was working next to people, I would just like pick up things that they do, and that sort of found its way into my editing style. But yeah, YouTube and the internet is a very powerful tool for learning how to do things.
You just watched me fail putting a shoe on for like half
Hey,
an
it's
hour.
okay.
I'm gonna go pee. You're gonna have to tread water because
I
I
will
have a
tread
small
water,
bladder.
and then after you get back, I'll have to do the same.
Okay,
So,
great.
Yeah.
So you can keep answering questions if you want.
Brandon Jacob, who's taller between you guys? I am taller.
Brandon is taller.
I don't know by how much, but
I mean, it depends on how big your hair is.
yeah, it depends on how floofy the hair is
Yeah.
that day.
All right, be right back.
Okay.
I love you guys. Be right back.
Okay. Now that he's gone, I feel like I should be doing a dance. Should I be doing a dance? I'm gonna check the comments. How are you guys doing in the comments? Let me know in the comments how you're doing. Yeah, I'm sorry for the ever-changing light. It's probably a little bit brighter in here now, but we're experiencing kind of a. It was pouring this morning, but just for the past like day and a half, it's just been like on and off weather and clouds and all that jazz. So yeah, hence why it's been shifting all so much. But yeah, currently I am working on the Pixel 4a video, and that will hopefully be up at some point this weekend or early next week. Actually, today's already Saturday. We're already in the weekend. Never mind. But yeah, hopefully very soon. A lot of my wonderful friends in the comments are talking about aspect ratios, and there's a reason for that. It's because I'm actually shooting and editing this video in 1:1, so complete square, which has proven itself to be a very difficult thing. Just like not even in like the sense of like editing, but like more specifically shooting, like figuring out how to spatially be aware in terms of shooting is like such a complicated thing. But like it keeps you on, I'm talking about 1:1 and like shooting 1:1.
Nice.
But like it kind of keeps you on your toes in a lot of ways.
How many ways?
All the ways.
That's good.
Like 10, at least 10 ways.
I'm reading the comments. Austin says you should hide and jump scare Jacob when he gets back.
Wait, what? Where are these comments?
Fuck, he's already back.
Dude, these comments aren't appearing for me. I'm gonna restart the stream.
Restart.
Oh my god, there's so many comments.
That's so funny.
I thought y'all were just ignoring me. Oh, that's hilarious.
You wanna go pee? Or do you want to answer a couple more questions?
Why don't you answer a couple more questions?
Alright.
Wow, I should have jump scared him, huh?
Wait, you can do it right now.
It's not worth it anymore.
You just do it. Just do it. Just scare me.
Ah! Okay, cool.
We're stupid. Why do you guys like us?
I just absolutely peaked that mic.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% just peaked.
Sorry, everybody.
Okay, where are we?
Did you answer anything after the Who's Taller?
No. I don't even know where that is.
This is Austin. What things do you both like doing in your free time? Getting naked in the woods. You?
I like sailing. I like swimming. I like being outside, taking walks. I like running, and
I like all those things.
And yeah, I mean, you had mentioned nature yesterday, and I feel like that's a thing that I undervalue sometimes in terms of like what I actually love doing, but like being on the beach, being in the woods, like it's yeah. I also love just walking in the city And
do you have your clothes on like a room?
I do, unfortunately. I'm not a huge fan of pants, but like you got to do what you got to do to remain cool for the kiddies.
I'm thinking of the moment video. We just recorded this other video. We recorded this video for some bags, and I'm not really gonna talk about it. But Brandon was talking about how you always have to pack, like what you pack in a bag, and how you always have to pack and change
Oh my
clothes.
God.
But he like packed a windbreaker. I don't think you even packed a second shirt. It was like a
No,
windbreaker,
I did.
a
I did.
windbreaker,
I packed a
shirt,
shirt
underwear,
and
socks.
No,
Forgot
pants.
the pants. All right.
Oh, God.
What the fuck? Where are we?
Where are some places you'd
You
both
love to
love to travel?
So I think about Africa a lot. I've really like. There's a lot of places in the world I've never traveled, but there are so many countries and cultures and different types of biomes in Africa, and types of music and types of people and voices. Oh my God, I would love to travel Africa for a long time.
See, for me, I'm much more of a cold boy. So, I want to go to Sweden. I want to go to Finland. I want to go to... I do want to go to Germany. But I also do kind of want to go to Africa. I had mentioned this yesterday, but I don't know. Like, there's... I feel I miss traveling so much. Just being able to get out of my element is like something I value so much as like an artist.
Yeah.
And not being able to do that like kind of closes you off a little bit from the world in a way. So yeah, I very much look forward to being able to do that soon.
Yeah, for me, it's like travel is... This isn't to like throw shade on at anyone, but like, to me, travel is worthless if I can't learn and spend deep time with the people who don't treat that space as a vacation space. So one of the times I got to travel, I went to Cyprus, the island of Cyprus, and I was so grateful. I was working with an archaeologist, and I was so grateful she's fluent in Greek, and I was so grateful to get to spend time with her traveling in these small towns, just talking to people. Literally would just get invited into the houses of random strangers who wanted to make us coffee, and she would just talk to them and translate for me, and I got to just like learn their lives.
That's
and,
fantastic.
You know, that's the type of world I want to be able to travel again. That's the thing I miss about travel. Yeah. Whether that's, you know, we're in New Jersey, whether that's traveling to Pennsylvania, which is only one state away, or traveling across the U.S. or traveling across all of the Americas or any of the continents, like,
yeah,
that's what I want. Okay, let me ask this one.
Is this my question?
Yeah. Okay. What was the feeling like when you realized you were going to buy a red, and then you ordered it, and then it showed up at your house? Follow up. Have you also have you wanted or are you planning on upgrading any other reds lineup?
So to answer the first question, very good feeling. There was also an element of like, this is very real, and this is a massive investment, and it's like, you know, even though I could afford it from taking all the freelance jobs at that point, it was more of like a pressure reminder that like, you owning this tool means I have to go that much harder.
Interesting.
So while it was like oh shit, I finally have a red in my hands, it was also just like wow, this is my future right here in this box. Like, this is the tool that I will be using for the next few years religiously. And it was really kind of a cool moment to do that. But to answer the second part of the question, not really an upgrade, but like I am gonna buy a Komodo. Possibly it's just like a 1DX replacement as like a secondary camera. I really like the Komodo a lot, especially with the promise of autofocus down the road being good, but also just like the idea of
like a more all-in-one type of device that's smaller, easier to travel with, that type of thing. That's really attractive to me. But in terms of replacing my DSMC2 camera, I'm thinking about maybe Gemini. But honestly, I'm very happy with my Scarlett W. It does everything I need it to do, and it looks great. So yeah, I'm not really in any mad rush right there yet. I will leave you off with this question while I use the restroom. What musical instrument / device were you most hyped to purchase, and what was the feeling like ordering it and getting it?
Okay. I'll wait.
There it is.
Can you be as quick
Wait,
as
what is the device though?
Well, I think I'm gonna answer by saying that like all of them have been.
Okay,
That's
fair
important.
enough.
Brandon's like, that's a dumb answer. I'm leaving.
It was not good enough for me.
Okay.
I'm not gonna jump scare him. I'm also
That's what he says now.
maybe I'll look at your questions or your comments. So okay. $1,200 red mini mags. Brandon just leaves, and I'm like, how do I live stream by myself now? Ooh, maybe I could. Jacob, you got a jump scare. Maybe I could do some ASMR. You guys want some ASMR while Brendan's gone? No, I'm just gonna answer the question. So, I have like the general answer, which is sort of a cop out, but it's like every item I've ever bought has been the most important one I've bought. I did not come from any semblance of money at all. I still don't have any semblance of money. Just being like full transparency. I live in not as much a state of stability that I would like to, and yet we all must keep creating. The tools that we buy I see as useful lessons as much as the objects themselves being powerful for us. I'm not really a material guy, but when I get inspired by a tool and I want to purchase it, it's because I know that it has a powerful lesson to teach me, and even if I end up turning it around and selling it later, I retain the lesson learned. So some items that I've bought in the past that have felt really powerful. I bought a Teenage Engineering OP1 once. It's like a brain of a device, little teeny tiny synthesizer, and that really opened my mind. I bought that before I started buying modular synth parts. It really just opened my mind to what synthesis could look like, and interacting with synthesis could look like. Before that, the first instrument that I ever purchased on my own was a guitar. It's a Fender Telecaster thin line. It's a 62 reissue or something like that. I don't remember the year actually. Beautiful guitar. The story behind that is that I was like 15, and my mom's a yoga teacher. She's a community leader as well. It's where I get it from for sure. And a member of her community, who was a good friend of hers, worked at the time at this air base near my house, and he worked in the Air Force, and he shout out to Dave if you're watching. You're probably not, because I haven't talked to you in a long time, but if you are, hey Dave, long time. He was a guitar player. He still is a guitar player, I'm sure, and a yogi. And when I was when I wanted to go into medicine, he was a very high-ranking official in the Air Force, and he let me come shadow the doctors at the airbase. That was really cool. I was like 15 years old, got to hang out with the doctors. And also, he knew that I wanted to learn guitar and that I did not come from a family of money, and he offered to me that I just basically commit myself to working in his yard and in his house for some period of time, literally until a certain amount of work was done, and then he would help me buy the guitar. And I was a kid and didn't have access to a car, and so like the deal was basically like, he was like, I know what you could want in a guitar. I can help teach you what you want to look for in a good purchase. I don't want you to buy a cheap guitar. And so I did like a bunch of work. We never talked about the amount of money he was going to give me. And he basically took me to Guitar Center a bunch of times, and we decided together on what guitar I wanted, which was this certain Fender Telecaster. It was like $750, which is the most money I had like ever thought about in my life at 15 years old. And I think he dropped $500 on it. The rest of the money, like, I think my parents helped me, spent, but he paid, a very large amount of that. It might have been less. I don't want to give my mom less credit than is due, but yeah. And so that was my first art purchase, first musical purchase, and that felt amazing. I still have that, and I will never get rid of that. Years later, I bought a cello. Would have been 100 years old in 2018. I had to sell that, which is very sad, but kept that for a bunch of years, and that was also a really big, really meaningful purchase because it meant any purchase comes, actually following through with any purchase comes from a place of finding self-worth, which is like kind of a sad way to say it, but
interesting.
Even now, like when I go to buy a big purchase, I'm like, I don't think I should spend my money on that. I should probably spend it on something else, like, giving to somebody or buying something that I actually need, and I have to like work through, it's been years of therapy to like work through like, no, actually you need this, like actually you do deserve this thing. So there you go, I turned it dark again. How was your pee?
Oh, it was great.
Awesome.
It was very fluid. What are some goals you both have?
I want to have a house. I want to have a garden. I want to have fruit trees. I want to have a quiet space that I can cultivate and grow with my girlfriend. I want to be able to have spaces to make art of different types. I want to feel comfortable. I think a goal of mine is pretty low, but I want to feel like I'm self-sustained and like I don't have to worry. I think that's what everybody wants. I want to not be able to worry, and I want to be able to take that lack of worry, and I want to be able to funnel that into activism and work to help other people. That's my goal. Vague, but true.
Yeah, that's fair. I think mine more revolves around like emotional discipline. But I don't know, like I've struggled with just like emotional stuff over the past like few years, to be honest, like and like how that affects my ability to work and create and like that type of thing. And like I've definitely worked myself out of that, and I feel like a lot more emotionally stable like in the past year and a half or so. So I guess just like my goal into the future is to keep going on that track and to actually be able to understand what I actually feel as opposed to what I think I feel.
That's a big one.
So yeah,
that's a really big one.
Yeah.
Brandon, in your website it says that you've worked with OnePlus and Google. What did you do there?
So that was, we talked about this yesterday. Jake actually wrote that little paragraph for me as like kind of like a thing to write on the website. I don't really write about myself all that well. But I haven't like worked specifically with those companies, but I do have direct relationships with them in terms of like talking about their products and like that type of thing. And it's a relationship that has allowed me to keep talking about their stuff and stuff that I actually like doing. So yeah, that's my relationship with them. Two very very cool companies that I am proud to have some form of an ongoing relationship with. So.
What made you decide to get the Tesla? And how's the experience been? And do you have any regrets? Also, will you ever do a Model 3 review?
So, to answer that last part, yes, that is actually a video that's within the next like 5 videos that we have on the docket so far.
I was bullying him yesterday because...
Oh, just yesterday.
Because we've been talking about doing a Model 3 related video for a long time, but...
Almost as long as what other video, Jake?
MacBook.
what made me decide to get a Tesla? A Tesla has always been my dream car. I have always wanted a Tesla. And the minute where I could financially justify buying a Tesla, I did it.
I remember when you said you were going to do that, and I was like, but that's just, again, my background of money relation. I was like, oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt very anxious about, that was like my first full-blown car purchase ever. And I was like very much in the like, what the fuck am I doing kind of situation. But like, not that I'm trying to justify this to you or myself, but like with the amount that I drive, like honestly owning a Tesla has like genuinely changed my life, just in terms of like the amount of travel I can do and how little it takes out of me owning a car like that. So yeah, that's kind of that. Also, regrets? No. I mean, I feel proud to say this, but my mom is actually now buying a Model Y because of the constant peer pressure. But yeah, it's been fun. I really love my car.
Brendan texted me. One, I just want to say, hey Judy.
Yeah,
it's nice to see you
my
here.
Mother is
Judy, if you're
this,
watching, really appreciate in advance that we get to do a
Does she
review
know
with your
what I
Model
do?
Y. Brendan texted me the other day that she's gonna buy one, and I was like, oh cool, so we get to do a review with it, right? So we get to drive it around. Okay.
Judy's,
Brandon
Judy's
et
upgrading.
Brandon et Jacob, est-ce que vous parlez français?
Un peu.
Brandon et Jacob parlez italiano?
Not at all. My mom actually, kind of, yeah. So we went to Sardinia last year, around this time actually, and I was shocked by how well my mother could just like pick up Italian like that and just like communicate like really well with people, like speaking a completely different language. But yeah, I do not have that talent. I can barely speak English as it is. But my dad did speak French for many, many years, so I've picked up a little bit of French, but I can by no means hold a conversation. The only thing I can do is get myself in trouble when I like try and be fancy and say a few words, and then someone's like, "Oh, you speak French? I'm gonna go full blown French at your face," and I'm like, "Okay, whoa, okay, I have entered into territory that I'm not ready for." So yeah, that's my answer. On to you.
Okay, so I grew up learning Spanish. I homeschooled, so I grew up with a Colombian family, and they were gracious enough to teach me and a couple other kids Spanish for many years. Unfortunately, like that dwindled, and I think both versions of these answers is going to be intensely, and they're going to be two different variations on intensely American answers, which I absolutely loathe. In that, like, I studied Spanish, I studied Latin, which is a dead language, but I studied a lot of Latin, and then I studied French for 4 years or 5 years. And in America, if you don't actively seek or reach out to find ways to continue practicing, you practice, it dies immediately because you're not exposed to other languages, and that is one of the greatest of many faults of our culture. So I studied Spanish growing up, and that was lost, but it was a very good foundation for me. I think that if I was able to practice Spanish, more rigorously with a community, if I went and I did that, I could be speaking more fluently pretty fast. It's very foundational for me. Latin helped a lot with all Romance languages. I can read a lot of Romance language, comprehend language through my Latin understanding. I studied that for like at least 5 years, and then before college, through college, and then practicing in Paris and France, and throughout France and throughout Quebec, I studied French and spoke French for many years. Haven't gotten the chance to do that in a couple of years, so again, that's gone for now, but I do think that it could come back, and I do miss it. I really miss being able to speak and think and practice language as an art form as well, because I think I treat it like that. when I was studying French specifically as an adult, as an artist who was an adult, I was like, every chance I got, I was like, what's that in French? What's that in French? How do I think about that? Would I be able to say this? Could I say that? Could I do this?
Fascinating.
So I miss that. I actually have been coming back to it. I've been, opening Duolingo more often.
Yeah.
I've also been, so I'm Ukrainian. My ancestry is Ukrainian, and I've been studying a little bit of Ukrainian just to get the language interest back and to feel connected to something I've never felt connected to. It's also very different from any Romance language, so that's been really fun. Learning Cyrillic over the last little while has been super fun, and but it's a bad answer. It's a very American answer, which is to say I'm not fluent in any other language, and that's a fault of my surroundings. And on that note, Brandon and Jacob
They're still alive, so that's good.
Good. What's your favorite color?
Tiffany, but just mostly blue. I love blue. I also love green.
I like purples and greens. I like really natural, like I think about like sage and like dusk. Like the color of dusk is like purple, but it's also like that vibrant blue. Natural colors, as if that's a surprise to any of you. What are the softwares you use to make videos?
Final Cut Pro. I use After Effects. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
If you could go back to your 18-year-old versions of yourself, tell them anything, what would you tell them?
Probably just a continuation of the 10-year-old thing. I mean, it's like, just stay true to yourself and have stock in your own opinions, and don't let other people get to you.
Yeah. I think I'd say no, people don't really tell you that life as an adult is filled with a lot of heartbreak, and I don't just mean like relationship heartbreak, but just it's wrought with a lot of heartbreak, and that's okay. That's okay. It's very hard. That fist needs to be open. That's all.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Things are not permanent. When I first met Claire, which was almost 2 years ago, this month, a couple days actually.
Oh.
We'll have dated her for 2 years. When we first met, yeah.
Claps in the chat.
Wow, that's so soon. Wow.
Yeah, what are you
September
gonna
10th.
do?
September
What are you gonna do?
We actually wanted to go on a trip. We were thinking about going to like Maine or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when or how, 'cause we need to figure that out, but yeah, we want to do something like that.
I love Maine.
Yeah, I've never been.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you have to get a lobster roll. Well,
Interesting.
you have to get
Lobster.
some semblance of lobster.
Here's a raw lobster. No, but so what I was saying about Claire is that like when we first met, she was like, "Wow, you really like this dude comes on strong with like the like everything is dying motif, like the impermanence motif." But like that is truly how I live, and like it's something that gives me power, which is like that nothing is permanent, and so that's something that I knew that I wanted to know at 18, but it took a lot of years and a lot of true heartbreak to learn, and I'm still learning, and we never finished learning that. I'm glad that we never finished learning, because if we did, we'd become callous to those experiences. But yeah, I think if I had a 27-year-old version of me pop into a moment where 18-year-old me was feeling sad or something, and could put a hand on his shoulder and tell him that would have made a lot of difference. So yeah, you guys are throwing some good heavy questions. I'm gonna be pretty emotionally depleted after this.
I mean, again, it's like I don't feel like I can serve these questions justice.
Top 5 movies, shows.
Just
off the top of your head.
The Office. I feel like that's just everyone's answer.
No, not true.
The
Not my answer.
Spy.
Did you know that about me? It's not my answer.
It's not your answer.
No, I don't really like The Office that much.
Damn.
It's okay.
Damn. Whiplash, which is a movie. We had a conversation about this yesterday, but Inception is another one of my favorites. And Nightmare Before Christmas is
Solid choice.
another one of my favorite. I love Tim Burton immensely. So yeah, those are my top 5.
Okay, so I'll play off of that. I'll say Inception was so good because of it being foundational for some really impressive ideas. I liked Interstellar. I found the same inspiration from Interstellar because it was made to be magical. It was there's some really good interviews that make me cry when I watch them about like between Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan, where they talk about like the idea of space travel for them, just like I was saying earlier, is like a mystical one. It's just like travel, human ingenuity. It's just the exploration of the human spirit. And so the score was written to be ceremonial, to be religious, and man, that score just absolutely destroys me. And the movie is just so powerful and so simple in its idea. But Christopher Nolan, Hans Zimmer things are very good. Darren Aronofsky, Clint Mansell things are very good. I was always The Fountain was like one of my favorites for a long time. That score is just absolutely amazing. But then on a different note, Over the Garden Wall was a really fun like miniseries, like one season cartoon that was just expertly crafted. The music was good, the ideas were good. It was whimsical and silly and super fucking dark and wrought with like folklore and Americana influence. Super good. Steven Universe is another cartoon Claire and I've been watching. It is truly one of the most beautiful, truly like intersectional experiences I have ever experienced. It is a kids show, and it is also so heavy, and it makes me emotional, like to think about as a thing that I get to know kids can grow up watching, because the normalization of the things they talk about and the ways they talk about them is so expertly crafted that I can't imagine a generation getting to grow up with that. I can't imagine how good those people will get to be. In that vein, Avatar: The Last Airbender, it kind of came in because it came into the fray because it's been on Netflix recently. But I'll say like I was like one of the first ones. I liked it when it first came out. I've watched it a bunch of times.
Oh gee, it's okay.
Yeah. I liked it before it was cool. But that too is beautiful in similar intersectional ways. It's beautiful because it highlighted a fantasy world based on, it's an American show, but based around, like an Asian American story, not Asian American, Asian story, and it's a story of people of color, and it did well in America, and the way they tell story is of Eastern mythology. That's fucking amazing. It's so meaningful. That's so powerful. Very timely right now. In the same vein, I wasn't going to say this yesterday because we talked about I didn't think about it, but even if I'm not thinking about this as like one of my favorite movies, in the same vein of like that power, something that I really draw so much, I find so much love for is Black Panther did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I know a lot of you just in the chat, in the Discord home chat, have been talking about that and feeling sad and feeling mournful of what happened last night. But that is the beauty that comes out of that is a moment of cultural power, of storytelling power that is just so deeply unifying. That's what storytelling can do. The fantasy of a space that can exist that is so much better than the places that we have access to. So yeah.
What are the things you see which instantly take you back to your childhood?
Oh, I have a cute one. So I don't really think about my childhood a lot. There's a lot of ways that I can't really interact with my childhood, but Legos make me think of my childhood because Legos were like my first art form. I don't remember if I even said this. We've been streaming for a long time today. Legos were my passion. No, but truly, like I was a Lego enthusiast. So when I like think about Legos, I'm like, Legos. But also, my mom.
But fuck those Lincoln Log kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I tried some Lincoln Logs and they were fun, but like, dude, you can't do the same thing.
It's not the same.
Connects were rich kids.
Oh.
Connects were rich kids.
I don't think I ever played with Connects, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
So like I knew some families who had Connects, and like the kids like had Connects, and it was always huge sets of things.
They were magnetic, right?
No, it was like snap in. They were like magnetic-ish things too, but I always like walked into. I just realized, like, I've literally never thought this verbally, but I always felt like if a kid had Kinects, I was like, "You're a fucking rich kid, aren't you?" Like, because they were really expensive sets, and you needed a lot of space to make those sets. Whereas Legos, like, I could buy Legos with like birthday money or something. But
Legos have gotten mad expensive.
they have gotten mad expensive. Yeah. But anyway, so the other thing for me is my mom's cooking. It's taken me coming into adulthood to realize that I come from a family of culture that has been sort of handed down through osmosis in a lot of ways. I come from a Jewish mother who I think probably would tell you if she was sitting right here, like, felt in some ways very disconnected from Jewish heritage, and yet the things that she passed down were immensely Jewish. And I got the chance to grow up in a Jewish household because of that. So thank you, Mom, because things that take me back to my childhood are whenever she cooks something, that's something like that, like certain types of cookies or certain types of dinners, and if they're tied to that, it's always tied to the positivity of my relationship to my mom. So
time of year.
Oh yeah,
time of year. Yeah. Like summer specifically,
and like fall especially coming into like Halloween and like that type of time period where like everything's like orange and pumpkin and fall and all that jazz, like that very much reminds me of like growing up and like I don't know, it's experiencing that as a younger person. Like there's still a lot that still exists for me even now, but yes, time of year.
After uploading, how many videos did you hit 1,000 subscribers, and within how much time?
I could not tell you. I'm sorry.
Is that something we could find?
I have no idea. I would say, I mean, the first video of mine that actually, like, I hate saying blew up, but like it got like some notice was fucking Braggy Dash video. It was a pair of headphones and it got like a couple thousand views, and I was like, oh shit. And I think that could have possibly been when I hit 1,000 subs. I'm not sure. I remember vividly being in my parents' house down here when I hit 100 subscribers, and I was with one of my close friends, Nick, at the time, and like that was the point where like when you hit 100 subs, like you can claim your domain, like youtube.com/whatever, and at that point like Brandon Havard wasn't an option, so it was Brandon Havard Tech for a while, and ever since then it has haunted me. So I finally got my domain, youtube.com/Brandon Havard, as of like a year ago, yeah. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more memorable to me than 1,000. Interestingly enough,
that's funny.
Yeah.
What thoughts were you having when you were first making your first YouTube videos? I really love the way that's asked. What the fuck were you on? What were you thinking?
I would love to know the same exact thing. One of the first videos that I ever made, that's on my channel still, is a video at outside of an Apple store right before like, I don't know, like the iPhone 6 got released or something like that, and like I wasn't even in line to like fucking get the phone. Like I couldn't afford it at that point. Like I couldn't justify buying that thing. Like I wanted it badly, so I decided to go out and interview someone in a line.
Amazing.
That night on the Atlantic City boardwalk.
Wow. And
yeah, I think that kid.
Maybe we should do that kind of thing more often.
Oh, I'd be down.
We can't now, but
I'd be down. Yeah. But like I remember feeling very excited to just be part of it. Like I didn't even care if people watched the video. I just really was excited about making that video. So yeah, that's what I was thinking at that point in time.
While making your first video, what camera did you use?
My iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got like an
iPhone was
iPhone 5.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. We should make a... Oh my god. I shouldn't tell you this idea. We should make a video using the iPhone 3G. Like, one...
Does it even have video recording? It doesn't have video recording. It just has photo recording.
Really?
I think it's just photos.
Okay.
I think it's just photos. But
We should... That would be a really fun
yeah,
challenge.
yeah, that would
Like a video that, like, is one of your videos. Like a video that goes on your channel.
Jesus Christ, man. That would be rough.
Yeah.
That'd be really rough.
Smash or pass. These little boys.
I don't know what the hell this is.
They look like children, so I'm definitely saying pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass because
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell this is.
You can zoom in. I think they're
Oh,
that
is this
game,
this game thing?
they're that bean game.
Bean
What
game?
the fuck are they called?
I don't fucking know what this
I'm really
is. I
sorry.
am so out of touch with gaming.
Zarif, what are they called?
So sorry.
What's the bean game?
The bean game.
Wait, I'm
they're
gonna
very
look.
cute. Like they're
yeah, cute like children.
Yeah, but
Still alive. Does this max out?
Brandon Jacob.
Oh, Fall Guys. That's
what
it.
Fall Guys?
Yeah,
What
pass? Hard pass on Fall Guys.
What are the most embarrassing memories from your life?
We talked about this last night. I really don't have embarrassing memories. I don't really feel like I experienced embarrassment. Maybe like as a kid, like in some way or another. But like honestly, like okay, I just remembered this story. This like just came out of nowhere. Do you want to know how like unembarrassed I have been for my entire life? I was like pretty young. I don't remember how young I was. Maybe I was like 6 or 7. Hanging out at a pool birthday party, backyard pool birthday party with some friends. We go in the pool, and I like loved being naked. I've always loved being naked.
Yeah.
So I like must have taken off my swim trunks afterwards. Like after we were just like sitting around, and I had my towel around me, which was like pretty ballsy move. Whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't think twice about it. Hanging out with my friends, and we started like dancing, and my towel fell off.
Fantastic.
And I like took my towel back. I picked my towel back up, and I just kept dancing. And then I made a song about it, and we all started dancing to the song about my towel falling off.
That is some SpongeBob stuff right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
I just like are you an embarrassment guy? Like, do you have memories of embarrassment?
Not really, to be honest. Like, I'd say one of the most vulnerable points in my life was when I was like really heavy as a child, and like I remember like a lot of like body image issues at that point that like made me embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like one thing specifically, like this is gonna sound so stupid. It's okay if you fucking laugh, but it's like when I was really young, I went to this restaurant and I had like a plate full of food headed back to my table, and I tripped on the rug, and all of my food fell on the floor, and I was so young and so fat, and I was just like rolling around, and I was like crying.
Oh, poor little Brandon.
I was so like mortified by that.
You
I
just gotta
still
scoop that
like
little kid up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I feel like that's funny solely because of how sad it is, but it's funny like to give a Office reference. It makes me think of like the Kevin's chili thing.
Oh, the chili.
Like that moment is so sad because
Yes.
it's just so much.
Oh my god. Yes. Oh my god.
How thick are your pancakes? Depends. I like making thick pancakes.
C's?
I like making thick pancakes. I also I like making a lot of small pancakes. That's a really fun experience because then you're like bop, bop, bop. And I also like making crepes, which then are very thin. So
If you could bring one thing to Mars with you, what would it be?
probably seeds. Try to farm on Mars.
I'd bring a camera. Like, I'd definitely bring a camera. I'd have to bring a camera. Like, yeah.
Wait, if this is like magical and there's no restrictions, can I just say like air? Can I say like a lot of air?
Well, then a nuke. You want to bring a nuke?
No, that's a fucking stupid answer. Air. Elon's dumb. Elon's a man boy, and you can't prove me wrong. Literal child.
Brandon and Jacob, what have you learned about each other, or about yourselves and each other?
Yeah.
While working together professionally for the past year.
Yeah. Oh, we kind of like. I feel like we had better answers than I'm going to be able to come up with now.
I mean, I'll go first.
Okay.
I will say that I've learned that, like, the transition from, like, Well, it's not transition. The working relationship that you have to sort of foster and give a lot of attention to, in terms of like having a friendship, but also having a working relationship, is a really difficult thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly important. And I'll say, like, with Jake, like, it has been a very easy process in the sense of like we are able to separate the two fairly well.
Yeah.
But what makes each portion good sort of fuels the other one, if that makes sense.
I think that's true. Communication.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess my answer is I've learned that he is very easy to work with. And also, I think I've learned that it is totally okay and possible to work with friends.
Yeah.
If it is someone that actually like connects with you in that way,
And the
like
work.
the chemical balance works.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I think that my answer would be kind of like a general one too. Just like I'm definitely a collaborative artist. I've always sought to make things with people, and when I think I seek that because I truly feel like making art is magic, and when you make art with somebody else effectively, you bring into the world something bigger than yourself. And like, I think I've only just started seeing the fruits. This is not really your question, Claire. Sorry, but I guess you're not.
Oh, is
You
this
know,
Claire?
yeah,
Oh, this is Claire.
Claire's no stranger to me not answering the question directly. I think like we've only started to see the fruits of our labor of collaborating within the last couple months. Where like we've both more frequently, more vocally been like, "Wow, we're doing good," and like what we mean is like we're making something that on our own we wouldn't possibly be able to do.
Yeah.
So that's really lovely. What have you learned about yourself? I think I've learned about myself that working together with somebody is, no matter who it is really stressful too. Yeah. And it's really fucking stressful. Yeah. But that's what motivates you, you know? Yeah, I feel like I could answer this way more, and I hate to give my girlfriend a cop-out answer.
Well, it's no longer just like tending to yourself, but
yeah. You're
also tending to another person and tending to each other in the same idea.
Yeah. Maybe just like I was saying, like any relationship is like a romantic relation. Like every relationship is of equal importance, and like I think there's things that I've learned in this professional space, how to navigate boundaries, how to navigate friendship, work relationship, that have taught me to be better in other relationships as well, you know? So I think it's been incredibly powerful, but I think it's hard to verbalize. Next question.
I'll let you answer the first part.
What is one thing, Brandon, what is one thing you really want to be able to take a photo of, but never in a million years will be able to take a photo of?
So this took a long time to figure out how to answer yesterday. An alien.
Yeah.
It's possible within my lifetime. It's possible, but I don't think it will happen.
I'm just making sure that the place that I'm talking about is named the thing I'm thinking of. So my quiz was the question that I have.
Where in the world would you want to visit once COVID is obviously gone? But again, never in a million years would be able to.
Right. So I think about it's North Sentinel Island is an island, I think in the Indian Ocean, and it is an island of people that have not had deep interactions, really, to our knowledge, in any substantial way, ever. They are existing in their own way on their island, sustaining themselves and living themselves and thriving in their own way, and the only like real experience, especially like more in the more immediate world that we know of them, is like people will fly helicopters nearby and they'll like shoot arrows, like get the fuck out of here. And I honestly think about them a lot because, you know, I know that I'm so different because of the world that I've been forged in, but I'm also like I'm also a human, and they're also a human, and I would love to know what we share. I would love to, in a million years I could never do it, because the possibility of, even if they opened their doors to us, the possibility of harming or killing them with disease is so real. And obviously, like, I wouldn't speak their language, but like if I could magically sit in a room and like hear the way they speak, taste the food they make, learn the dances that they like to do, think about, like, hear their aspirations and listen to their dreams, and like listen to the music they make, like, that is so amazing. And that feels to me like a vestige of remoteness, unscathed by a lot of the world and a lot of the horrors that we've seen, but is also something that is so deeply human. And I would love to know how they see the world.
So do you want to do like a little bit of a speed round?
Yeah.
Try and like smash through some of these.
Why? Because we've been going for 2 hours straight?
Maybe. Okay. 5 lessons you've learned throughout the pandemic.
Oh man, take care of yourself.
1.
Take care of yourself.
2.
Slow down. Make eye contact. And take care of the people around you. Wear a fucking mask. Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Sanitization is something we need to prioritize more.
Yeah.
People can be really stupid. People can be really wonderful. Family can be very important in a time like this. As much as it
Can
always
I
is.
make an addendum to that?
Sure.
I think just because language is innately flawed, when we say family can mean anything too.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's something that I've certainly found, is that family is deeper than just like, my blood bonds to somebody. The importance of family, especially in a moment like this, in a heightened moment like this. Brandon's family, like, that's a different type of thing. But
and I think finally, it is very hard not to be social in a time where it's not exactly possible.
Yeah.
Which I did not know about myself.
Yeah.
I guess I am a lot more of an extrovert than I thought I was, but the more you know.
Lightning round. What are your most embarrassing pieces of content and ones that you're most proud of that you've created in your own respective fields and together? Okay,
I created a commercial for a lens company. It did not go well. I did not like it. It was a rough time. Many revisions. And together, I'd say the Pixel Buds video was possibly one of my most favorite things that we have done together.
Yeah.
Those are my answers.
I think from start to finish, that video was really good to make. Yeah. I don't really get embarrassed. I don't really feel embarrassed by the things I've made. I think that I have spent a lot of time making sure that I am tending to myself and loving myself, because that can be hard. And so I think one of the ways that I've let that be is that, like, when I look at past stuff, even if I'm not super proud of it, fuck that. I'm always proud of it, because, like, it's a version of me. It's literally the snapshot of who I was in a moment. So I don't really feel embarrassed by the stuff I make. Most proud by myself, I'd say the next thing that's coming, the next album that's coming, I'm really fucking proud of it. And before that, it was the last next thing, Together, Pixel Buds fucking rocked. Maybe this next one, honestly, Square, it's been pretty good.
Could be. I feel like with Pixel Buds, everything just like kind of fit into place. Perfectly. Yeah. I was like, okay, this works.
What are the best things you've done for other people? That is such a good and wild question.
This is a difficult question.
I want to keep that so simple, because otherwise we'll just be on.
I think I'll just answer with, like, whenever I see someone, like, on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, like, DM me or mention me and say, like, I inspired them to create or do something, like, that makes me feel
so incredibly good, knowing that I could help someone in that way feel inspired.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to leave it at that.
I think mine is be a community member, which really like specifically relates to this in a moment like now. I feel proud to be someone who feels through and through the same person. I feel proud to have become somebody who can be vulnerable and overtly vulnerable. And I think the best thing that I could do, because I think it's the best thing any of us could do for each other, is to continue being honest and vulnerable, communicate well, be introspective, and stoke the fire of community as best I can. I think that that's the best thing I could do, which is sort of like patting myself on the back. But
No, I mean, what are your guilty pleasures, Jake?
my guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures.
I don't know. What are my guilty? Sometimes I really enjoy sugar. Sometimes I don't. But sometimes I really do. And when I do, like sometimes I eat a lot of it and then it hurts me. Same thing with cheese. I would say like I don't eat dairy. I don't eat dairy. I haven't eaten dairy in a while. And before that it was a while. Like I kind of every so often relapse. But I would say that's the closest thing I could come to a guilty pleasure. Because I don't feel guilt that much.
Okay, even though I know it is bad, I will take like a fucking like hour and a half long shower and just like let the water run and just like I know it is awful to let that much water go to waste like that, but
Scream the entire time.
sometimes I really need it.
I own a Tesla, it's fine.
It cancels each other out.
That is pretty bad. We'll have to talk about that off mic.
Yeah, exactly. What is the hardest part of making music?
This isn't going to be the answer that you want to hear, but like any art making, it's just being honest with yourself, and it's being kind to yourself. Because like music, I know I earlier said music making is actually easy, and I do believe that in some ways music making is easy, but cultivating yourself as an artist is really fucking hard, and I think that music is complicated enough, just like video is complicated enough, that it's easy to get lost in like I didn't do that right, or I didn't compose that right, or I didn't set that up right, or I didn't play it right, or I didn't record it right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And just like being nice to yourself is really important. And it's also the hardest thing you could do.
Okay, without you going too far off of the last question, because this kind of bleeds into it.
Yeah.
What is your songwriting process?
I go naked into the woods,
tips
motherfucker.
for songwriting.
Go naked into the woods.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, I spent a bunch
do
of
you read
time.
this? Yeah.
I bet this is from Sophie, my sister.
Hi, Sophie, her sister. His
Uh,
yeah.
I spent a bunch of my formative years in community theater, and it really helped to shape me into the person I am today. Are there certain things that your experience in theater helped you learn / figure out?
Literally everything. Also, massive props on using the correct spelling of theater. It is R-E, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Theater...
Colonizer.
Theater is a very... I don't know. I think it's a very important thing for people to be able to experience. I think like there's many things that it's taught me, but most specifically problem solving, and also learning that when things get difficult, you don't just give up. And also something that I've struggled with many times throughout my life is trying to rely on people. In theater, you have to do that. Yeah, I mean, there's a list. There's absolutely a list. But I'd say problem solving is probably pretty far up there.
All right, let's continue speed round.
Okay.
Are you an Apple fanboy?
I have an iPhone.
And
I
an
have
Apple
a
Watch.
watch. I have a Mac. I don't think I'm a fanboy of anything specifically, but I do use what works.
You were a fanboy, I would say, of Steve Jobs for a while.
I love Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Immensely.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't necessarily have anything to do with Apple specifically as much as it just did Steve Jobs.
What makes you self-conscious? You had a good answer for this.
What was it?
Um,
What did I
ignorance.
say? Oh, ignorance.
You said other people's ignorance.
Other people's ignorance.
That was a really fascinating
Yeah.
answer to me.
Yeah. So I find that I am self-conscious when other people around me are basically speaking through ignorance. I feel like it causes me to reflect inwards and process that inwards and make me question my own core beliefs and my own core values. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But, just in everything that you have to learn how to work through with, time and age, that's something that identifying it is the first step. And that is definitely something that I have learned about myself. But mainly just, in other people's biases or whatever that may be, it definitely does make me question inward.
I don't really I have been somebody who's kind of socially anxious. I don't really feel that anymore, especially thanks to things like this. But so that's sort of like a self-consciousness in the past, and maybe the only time that that's retained is when I'm tired, because I think that it has to do with not feeling like I'm my best self.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I feel self-conscious about that. But I don't know, I don't really feel that so much. What are you embarrassed about yourself?
I'm not really.
No.
Maybe my small bladder.
Oh yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
I have to take many pee breaks, but that's about it.
A lot of time for good ideas. Best ideas come when you're on a toilet.
I guess so.
All right, let's keep going.
I guess.
What are fears for this? Oh, this is a really good question. I want to give it the time it needs.
Yeah.
What are your fears for this space? Followed by, where do you see this space in a year's time? Those are such good
I
questions.
let you go ham on those two.
I'm gonna go freaking ham on these. I'm gonna stand up. So I've been a community leader, organizer, member for many years in many different realms, and I have not just been it, but I've gone and studied how to do it better, and I really think of it as an art form, and the most important art form. And I think the times that I've been, in my reflection, the times that I've been worst at it are when I've when I've abused its power. It was in a more volatile version of Jake, but I really felt, I think my fears and feeling alone in trying to lead a space really guided my actions into being somebody who ended up using a really pure space and I think was rude or was shitty or was not honest or not pure. And I think my fear and by thinking about it actively as a fear will keep me from being this. But I think my biggest fear is harming this space. This space being another person, right? I mean, it's our community, making this community together. Every moment that we continue to make this community together, it's an extra person we've created together. And the idea of harming that person is probably my greatest fear. Do we get any question? Hold on. Where do I see this in a year's time? I see this... Oh, so actually to answer the other thing about the fear of harming this space, I think that the way that we've done a really good job of mitigating that is we've expanded in leadership. So the fact that it's two people leading the space, we can counterbalance each other, and we've added mods, and I hope to continue to add that type of leadership in our spaces in ways that it could never be that. I hope that in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, this space will be self-sufficient. And I hope that, it continues to grow and continues to be what you all need it to be. And that, one of my biggest hopes is that if this is a space for online creators of different media, that, representatives from companies could bounce in and be we're looking for a maker of this type of product. We want to do an ad spot. And, how cool would that be? That would be amazing.
Many applications with a platform like this.
So that's a great hope. What do you do for fun?
Especially in downtime boredom.
I was talking to Claire about this while I was stretching before going to bed last night. I do not experience boredom. Do you experience boredom?
No.
I do not have boredom in my bones.
No.
Aside from like literally just never really feeling boredom, I was told from a young age that I wasn't allowed to say that I'm bored, which is a funny thing. I think that's like a lesson I'd probably put forward if I ever had children, which is my mom would always say, "You're not actually bored. Like you're brilliant and you are inquisitive and you are adventurous and imaginative, and you're saying." Drop my phone. You're saying that you're bored, but you're not actually bored. You're being lazy right now. I'm not putting anybody who gets bored on blast, but like that's what she would say to me, and I really internalized it. It's like every time I would think, I would use that word that I had learned from peers. I would think like, "Am I bored? Oh no, I just need to go do something." And so I don't know. But in moments of downtime, which I may have, depending, I may have a lot of that. I get naked. No, I think I like to
woods.
Go out in the woods. I make food. I listen to music. I spend time with people I love. And
We run.
We run.
We sail sometimes.
We sail.
Once, twice.
We've sailed a couple times. Yeah, at least twice. Yeah, we want to do a great
We're gonna
beyond.
do it again.
We would
Yeah.
like to do that. It'd be fun.
Maybe some GoPros.
Yeah.
How do you get your ideas?
Get naked in the woods. No, just live every moment as in the moment as you can. That's how you get ideas. I mean, really, like, would you give a different answer than that? Like,
No. I mean, I think
find ways to be present.
Not to be like fucking heady or some shit, but it's like I get ideas from myself, and just like doing things on my normal routine like inspires the next thing.
Yeah.
So like if I'm working on a video and one thing sort of prompts a thought, then I bring that thought to the next project, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm seeing our mods talk in the mod chat right now about how we're still getting some questions. I'm just gonna
For the next Q&A.
The easiest way to answer this is I'm going to just type in the questions chat. Y'all, I'm very sorry, but we can't answer any more
Jacob
questions
is typing
right now.
What if you ask a question? What are things you collected
We love
before,
you all.
up to now, want to collect in the future? Are you a collector? Do you collect things?
No.
Okay.
Moments.
I mean, I feel that. I'm much of the same in that respect.
I would say that I have to find where we were. So we talked about this a little bit, but like I
JD, what's good, man?
in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Howdy.
Oh, and Jackson too.
Hey Jackson.
Wow, it's a lot of people. I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping up on the comments.
I usually try to think of objects as lessons. So if I buy something, often I'm going to sell it. Or like, and then what I keep is stuff that I really am going to keep in rotation for a while, but like down the road, it's not off the table that I'm going to get rid of it. In that sense, like I have modular synths. I would love to be more affluent, to be able to collect more, to be able to play with more different devices that do different things. But at the moment, I'm okay with having a very restricted palette there.
Yeah.
So I'm not a collector in that sense. I don't really see myself ever being a collector.
Oh, I could be considered a collector of shoes.
Oh, you have a lot of shoes.
I have a lot of shoes. I don't know. I only really buy shoes that I really like. But I feel like I've kind of saturated my shoe collection as of right now. I don't really have anything else that I kind of want, so...
They're really putting us on...
Does.
They're really mentioning our feet. I'm like...
Bruh, don't
it's just
look at our feet.
Actually, no.
Don't.
It's fine. Look at my feet. But it's just a foot. It's like a hand. You look at my hands all the time, and you're never like, oh, your hands. He's got a weird thing about feet. I don't. I will take all my clothes off in this live stream in a minute. I will take every clothes off. Do not challenge me.
If you could be born again, keeping all your thoughts, memories, and knowledge, what would you change about yourself?
I wouldn't. I truly would not do that. I get very... Whenever I think about that, it's like the thinking of like changing my past or anything, and I think that in the concept of the logic experiment of thinking about changing my past, I know that the person who's thinking about it would change inherently, and I am made up solely of my experiences. I know that you asked a different question, but I just so thoroughly don't let myself do it. I'm made of being impermanent that thinking about this fucks me up. So I wouldn't do it.
Fascinating. I don't think I would do it either, but I definitely would change my bladder size. So
you just get a catheter. Brandon's always peeing.
yeah. Like if I get a venti coffee, there's no productivity to be had.
Venti catheter.
A venti catheter.
Brandon, what shows have you performed in?
Ton. I'd say like
I'm just gonna ask this all as. Actually, there's a question later that is like this, so I'm gonna ask that too.
Well, I'm gonna speed around this.
Okay,
so top 3: Peter and the Starcatcher, which is the prequel to Peter Pan, Oliver, and surprisingly Romeo and Juliet, which I was not looking forward to, but it ended up being actually a very cool experience.
If you hadn't done Romeo and Juliet, we wouldn't have come up with a great beyond.
That's true.
How hast thou the fart?
How hast thou the fart?
Okay.
Poetry.
Absolute poetry. Aside from any Broadway favorites?
In the Heights. In the Heights. If you don't know In the Heights, look it up.
Aside from tech, theater, coffee, or really anything else people already know, what things are you interested in? You like plants?
I like plants. I like I don't know. I like exploring. I like exploring a lot. I also love the idea of reinvention in a lot of ways. Taking things that have been done the same way over and over again and trying to figure out a new way for it to exist. So that's kind of a thing that I enjoy doing and thinking about a lot. But also I enjoy drawing and sketching and all that jazz. I also enjoy typography. Typography is a thing that I spend a lot of time thinking about and using, probably from just like design and all that. But yeah, those are probably my go-tos. I don't really know what you guys know. I mean, I was a surfer. I still love all that kind of stuff. Sailing, I've mentioned that before, but yeah, I don't know how much you know.
How much do they know?
Jacob.
Yes?
What kinds of music do you particularly enjoy?
Jazz. I like jazz. I like
jazz.
I really like I like things that feel genre bending. I feel like we're in a very interesting moment where like people are playing with combining genres in ways that nobody ever did that, and I'm really inspired by that. I particularly like just stuff that is like, yes.
Any specific artist's favorite? That leads into the next question.
Okay, so one of the first that just rocked my fucking shit was Bon Iver. They're one of my favorites. I really liked them for the beginning. Like, the first album was kind of like singer-songwriter-y, folk, Americana-ish. And then I have this very distinct memory. I think it was 2011. They did a song from their second album, the Bon Iver. It's like self-titled album. On Colbert Report.
Oh, yeah.
And I was sitting there with my older brother, and we were just watching Colbert. Didn't know that this was going to happen, and we watched. He just kind of cold opened, like, here's Bon Iver. They're going to do this song after like a commercial break, and they did this one song, Calgary, off of Bon Iver. That is one of my favorites, anyway. And I just sat there, and my fucking jaw dropped, and it was doing things to me that was so unexpected, because it was like distinctly one genre but playing in other spaces, and really was foreshadowing for a lot of other experiences in my life that I had, feeling very alone in the appreciation of those sounds. So I felt a lot of camaraderie in that.
Yeah.
But what was really healing and very like unexpected was I looked over at my brother. Also, his jaw had just hit the floor, and I was like, oh, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
Wow. And I went and listened to that album, and I was like, oh my god. So Bon Iver, Similar experience later in life. A couple of years ago, when I was writing my first album, I started listening to Sufjan Stevens, who people had been telling me, my very dear friend Doug had been telling me for years, you need to listen to this guy. He's doing stuff that you would love. And I started listening to him, and I was alone and mostly naked, house sitting on a farm for a friend, and I started listening to these albums, and I was like, oh my god. From that point on, Anna and Elizabeth do singer-songwriter, folk-inspired stuff that's really powerful. Like off the top of my head, I think about a couple different musicians. One of them that I always think of is like almost he's a like friend of friends, Samora Pinder Hughes, he's an artist activist, and a singer-songwriter, jazz musician, composer. Man. I'm trying to speed run this because we have so many questions, but
well, aside from music, painting, and sculptures, or really anything else that people already know about, what other artist pursuits do you enjoy?
Oh, artistic pursuits. I didn't understand the question.
Oh, artistic pursuits. I just can't read.
No, it's okay. Cooking. I think that's art. I think gardening is art. Appreciating nature is art. I think engaging in cultivating friendships and relationships is art.
Getting naked in a forest.
Getting naked in the woods. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. Brandon Jacob, what's the ideal world in your eyes?
So I will start with that, and I'll say I already have kind of answered this with a different question, which was, or my answer to a different question, which was, to me, I think I have a couple ways of saying it. I get to be what I want to see, which is being vulnerable and being honest and being trusted as a through and through person. I think the ideal world is one where we can all do that, and it's a lot of work. Like, that's something I preach that I am trying to do, but we're all really fallible humans. I'm not doing a very good job.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm a person. But I think the ideal world in my eyes is one where we can all do that. I also think that the ideal world is comprised of smaller worlds that we make. I think we exist together in an ideal world. I'm so proud. Like, I'm not like just talking out my ass. I'm so proud of like the Discord space and the space that we exist in together, because it truly feels really just run out of care for one another. And if we can build spaces, if every one of you and every one of us can go build spaces, these little micro worlds that are like that, that's the best world we could have. That's my answer.
I think for me, I'm just going to make it simple, but a world where mental health and mental stability is given the respect that it deserves.
That's a really good answer. Have you ever had an out-of-body experience, apart from pressing the accelerator all the way down in the Model 3?
I was in a plane once where we freed fall for like a solid couple seconds. It felt like an eternity, but that was I guess that was probably the most out-of-body thing I felt. Yeah, I don't know. It allowed me to sort of question my life.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'd say that's probably the closest. How about you?
Okay, so this is like, let's remember all the way back to Doug's question about favorite animal. This is how I wanted to answer it. I dream a lot. I have throughout my life had very intense dreams, and in that sense, I feel like every time I have a dream, like when they're so intense, I come back to the world and I'm like, I just lived a different life. I consider that an out-of-body experience, in which case I have that a lot. But I feel like that's important to say, because not to get like heady, but like, what is reality, right? Like, what truly is our reality? When am I in my body versus out of my body?
Yeah.
There have been many times in my life where I've played music and I've left my body.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one distinct memory that I can't really go super deep into because it would take a long time, but let's just pretend like this makes sense. I was on a cliff in Cyprus, overlooking the Mediterranean, sitting having dinner with a family of German people who had fled from Germany to pursue being like religiously explorative and farmers. And I was sitting there. We were from completely different worlds. And I was sitting there, and they invited me to play music for them. And then I did a little, and I was like a little not uncomfortable, but I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to speak to these people, how I'm trying to speak to these people. And then one of them, the father, who was like a philosopher, pulled out this old wooden flute, like bass flute, and he said, teach me how to improvise. I've always been interested in jazz, but I have no idea how to do it. And I said, okay, well, improvisation is just a communication. Let's just go back and forth and play the same kind of notes back and forth. And I was on a guitar and he was on this flute, and we started doing it. And after a couple seconds, I closed my eyes. I think he probably did too, and I just left, just completely left. I wasn't in my body. I didn't know who I was. The only thing that I knew was this conversation that I was having. And it was so, like, supra musical. It had nothing to do with music. It had nothing to do with anything. It was like these two people who were so different just having this conversation. Yeah. And I remember coming out of it, and literally, I literally gasped when I came out of it. I was like, and I looked over, and the people that we were with, his family and these two other people I was with, they were like, I don't know what the fuck we did. I have no idea what it looked like, but I know that I just left. Another experience that I had, I used to study this martial art called Aikido for a decade, and one time I was meditating with my sensei. It's just the two of us in this space. It had been in an old church, which was very powerful. An old church turned into dojo. And I had this, in the middle of meditating, my eyes were closed, and I had this vision that a tiger burst through this old wooden door. Literally just burst through the door and was just standing in front of me and just looking at me. And it actually, I came into being and was like, "Ugh!" and like fell backwards. I was like 13.
Fantastic.
And from that point on, for years, still have them every so often, I'll have dreams where in the very edge of my vision, there's a prowling cat, like a big predator cat. And I used to be really afraid of it. And I realized that like, it's like a protector, you know? So.
Fascinating.
It answers Doug's question, too.
What's the piece of music you are most proud of?
This next one I'm making.
Fair enough.
I really think that's always going to be the case. Where are we?
To answer that question having to do with what's the shot sequence that I'm most... that I worked the hardest for. I was saying this to Jake yesterday, but it was part of a Lamborghini shoot that I had done with Marquez and Andrew and Vin. And it was like 102 degrees in blazing sun out in West Palm Beach, and nothing was going right. And I just remember, like, I guess I have this thing where it's like, when I know that something's not going right around me and when people are not happy, I just work harder to, like, make it okay. And no matter how much I did and no matter how hard I worked for it, it just wasn't coming together. But I just remember feeling so incredibly hot and like so incredibly drained and like so like creatively frustrated. And then when we got back, like the video didn't really turn out the way we wanted it to, but it was definitely like wow, we worked for this video. We really worked for this video. And even though it's not everything we had hoped it was, we still know that we worked incredibly hard for it. So there's that.
What was it like working for a YouTuber, and how did you get hired to work for him?
Well, what's it like? It's kind of like working for myself in a way. But he offered me a job, and I accepted it. So.
And you like him.
And I like him. Marquez is a great guy.
I'll give my experience. I work for a YouTuber. pretty all right.
He's okay, I guess, sometimes.
He's not. He's not fucking do you know of any cameras that'd be best for starting YouTube on the cheap? They can last a year or two. You said you started with an iPhone.
I started with an iPhone, yeah. But also, cheap Canon cameras are great. Cheap Sony cameras are great. I feel like everyone's definition for cheap is very different, but you know, you can find a really solid Canon camera for sub $400, and it will last you a while. So yeah.
Okay, I'm like
That's
starting
mine.
to lose steam.
Yeah, same here.
We're so close. We are so close.
Do we
folks.
want to just like cherry pick?
No,
some
I want to
questions?
answer everybody's questions, especially Neil's.
Okay,
Look at this. Neil asks so many questions.
that's true.
Okay.
I
Biggest
feel like
regret.
I'm just giving the same answers now.
Well, because a lot of them have been asked, and we're paraphrasing. It's totally fine.
I feel bad.
Biggest regret.
Not going ahead with it, not just doing it. Pontificating
Do
too
the
much.
thing.
Just fucking do it.
I understand that. One piece of advice, I like just thought about it for too long. I'm trying to not think about it for too long. Yeah, I'm just trying not to think about it too long. Because biggest regret you've ever had is a really big question.
Yeah.
And I would like to say none, but I don't think that's true. So I'm going to say thinking about it for too long.
Yeah.
One piece of advice you would want to give young artists. Dude, just the hardest part of making art is talking to yourself. Learn to communicate well with yourself. It's so hard, especially in this culture that does not teach you how to do it, if you're in America. But that's the hardest part of making art. Be honest and talk to yourself and listen to that voice that's really deep inside you, because very often that like instinct voice has so much to tell you. What's yours?
I think I just want to build off of what he said and just say, like, and this is something that I've more recently learned how to do, but just love yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
ultimately that's what allows you to make really good art.
Yeah. What is something you've done that you're most proud of? For me, it's the daily thing. It's just the daily work. It's loving myself, and it's doing that because I know that lets me love other people too.
I think just constantly publishing, like constantly seeing work that you've really just like invested yourself in for so long. Finally seeing that go farther than your computer.
Yeah.
Is like, every time I do that, I feel nervous but proud.
Major event in your life that you think drastically changed the way you are right now. Like if it didn't happen, you're probably a different person.
My childhood.
Yeah.
But specifically growing up in theater. Yeah, that's right.
I think I could probably say all of my life, but like
Yeah.
one of the big ones that rocked my shit when I broke up with my first girlfriend, I had a very substantial misunderstanding about what it meant to be an artist, and breaking up with her related deeply to my art and my misunderstanding of making art. And so coming out of that process helped to teach me what it meant to be an art and what it meant to be an artist and how to love myself.
Fascinating.
If I hadn't done that right, I would not be here. How has theater helped you in your development as a person and your craft in videography and photography?
I love how that was it perfectly led into the next one.
Yeah.
Again, problem solving, but also doing things in unorthodox ways. 9 times out of 10, the thing that you do through just like makeshift practice or just like coming up with it on the spot is usually going to be the thing that sits above the rest of the pile.
Mm-hmm.
Ingenuity, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Theater is a crash course in how to make things just work. And I don't know, I feel like I feel like one of the things that I hate to see in my industry so much is like when you can't make it work, you blame it on the gear. But 9 times out of 10, you're just doing the easy thing. You have to blame it on yourself.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you're just not giving it the time and attention that it needs. Like, there's so many times in video that I could very easily just give up. But knowing how to problem solve and knowing how to troubleshoot, very powerful things.
What is important to you when planning on a video?
What's important to me?
I guess the design of it, probably. Like I was just editing our last final make a music video, and that was something you talked a lot about, was the design aspect.
Yeah, having a really strong grasp of what that look is, going into it, like especially like with this Pixel 4a video, like I went in with a lot of things figured out that I don't normally have figured out, specifically color palettes, fonts, everything was mapped out. So I think like there's a hybrid to be had that I usually do, but like some form of having an image before you enter into a process, I think is probably what I find the most important.
I don't want to lose sight of this, but I'm like so excited. We almost have gotten through everything. This is very exciting. You guys are like for those of you, for all of you.
I don't know who the hell is still in here listening to us.
You're amazing.
Holy shit, 18 people.
That's amazing. Okay.
These are all for me, right?
Yeah. What is your dream show to perform in as a theater actor?
So I think doing a little callback to the thing I said before in terms of like loving reinventing things. I have a profound fascination with Shakespeare, and basically taking a lot of what we are comfortable with in Shakespeare and a lot of the brilliance of Shakespeare that is not thought through enough in this day and age, and making it more accessible to this day and age to younger people, and to largely reinvigorate theater for younger people, which is a dying thing. I love storytelling through music, and I love storytelling through advanced imagery, and I feel like entering into a show where I can very much do whatever the fuck I want to it would allow me to really explore that source material, which is a great thing about Shakespeare because it's in the public domain, and you can rip it apart if you so choose to.
What are some of your favorite lines from a show?
I need to think about that.
You want to get back to it?
I think it's actually from that monologue.
Yeah, it's a really good monologue. You can go watch our Great Beyond.
I think it actually has to do with like they are free men, but flies may do this, but I from this must fly.
Yeah,
it's basically like marrying like context of animal imagery into like it's such a fascinating thing. I recommend you to watch that video because we talk about a lot of that literature.
Yeah,
in that video, so
it was a lot of fun.
Go do that.
I think one of my favorite moments too, I think it just so purely captures. I've really been enjoying making the Great Beyonds and filming myself, not because I'm selfish or like narcissistic, but like because it's so interesting to get to see moments of being a genuine person and something that's so fun. I still get the rush of it when I watch me actually do the monologue well.
Yeah,
I'm in it. I've never thought I could be an actor. I've never been even thought I want to do that.
Yeah,
and I did it, and I did the monologue, and then it's so funny to see the character literally just fall off like a mask,
Mhm.
and then it's right back to me just being like a fucking goober.
Yeah.
And I just looked at you and I'm just like, did I do it?
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Neil, these are some fantastic questions.
Yeah.
How does one deal with Jake? You have to water him like 5 times a day, feed him like 4 times a day, give him much love and respect that he deserves. That's about it. Okay,
Good.
Jacob, what is the most unforgettable gig you ever played in?
Okay, so I have a couple good answers. As a musician, I have like positive answers, which is like the one I was talking about. Playing my own music, getting to improv over it with dance company that I've worked with. Amazing. There's one where I played at Juilliard after I had done this conference, this art conference, and we all got to perform afterwards, and that was beautiful and really just so emotional. Our next resident artist, who you'll meet next Wednesday, was also at that conference with me, and after my performance, I did cry all over his chest, and I literally left a wet imprint of my face, is how much I cried on him.
That is fantastic.
That was the first week I ever knew him, and so that's one of the best performances, of course. As a sound engineer, I have experienced lots of really ridiculous gigs. One of them, off the top of my head, just to make this more profound than it needs to be, I was doing a gig with my wedding band that I worked with at the time. I'm starting to like figure out how to say that because obviously I don't work with them now, and I probably won't anymore. Sorry, guys. But we did this gig where there was intermittent power, and we kept losing power. And as the team of 2 sound engineers, we were like, in our minds, we were losing our shit. Like, how, getting angry, right? But like, how dare you? Like, you didn't give us the power we need. Everybody's gonna get mad at us. Everybody's gonna get mad at the band. There's 300 people here. They're all gonna get upset.
Mm-hmm.
They've paid an exorbitant amount of money for us to be here. Our gear is gonna get broken if we keep frying it like this. And yet, I was so proud of us because it happened literally across the entire night. It happened. We had to keep fighting power outages and handling it different ways and figuring out generators on the fly and all this kind of shit.
Wow.
4 hours, 4 straight hours of that.
Wow.
And what really impressed me was that the guy that I work with, who's been a mentor and his family, both of us, I was so impressed with our poise, to be honest, in the sense that, I consider anger to be the byproduct of an emotion. I consider anger, I don't like giving anger what other emotions deserve. It's not a real emotion, it's fear, and that's it. And I was so impressed that when these moments were happening, the band was experiencing frustration or anger or wanting to take it onto their own hands. They didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry guys, if you're watching. But like they had their own jobs to basically like I told them at a couple different points, like, stay in your corner, And the people in the wedding were like getting mad because they'd spent so much money and like money should solve everything. And I was so impressed with my ability to not get angry and my ability to not get scared and my both me and John, our abilities to remain calm throughout. Was it exhausting? Fucking oh my god. We drove home in after that gig and we literally were like, it was horrifying, but that's some power. That's one of the most memorable gigs I think I've ever had.
What is your biggest pet peeve as a musician?
So as an artist, in general, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I hear someone say, like, I want to do this thing. If I've heard that enough times from that person, after a point, and this is like something I need to work on for myself, but after a point, I just tune it out. Because we live in a world where we have a lot of safety to practice things. And if there's something in your way, it's usually you. And I've known people who are like, I'd love to learn how to play guitar. If I'm hearing that for years, pick up that guitar.
Yeah.
I think that's a big peeve of mine. These things aren't that hard, And they're great ways to explore that you are your own biggest difficulty. Anyway.
What other instruments would you want to learn?
Oh, man. I want to learn this instrument. It's a Ukrainian instrument called the bandura.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Ukrainian harp, basically. It's like so cool. It's so beautiful. First time I ever experienced it was in 2013 in an alleyway in Paris. I met this
Fantastic.
bandurist who is Ukrainian, and we chatted for a while. And I've since learned a lot of the history of it, and it is a staple of like the Ukrainian identity. It tried to be snuffed out for literally a century, and it's just really powerful to know that the tradition still exists.
Your ideal audience for performance, i.e., people important to you, strangers, people you look up to. These are really good questions.
Yeah, you know, Neil, like you said, sorry I'm late to everything, dude. I'm glad. Like, I'm really grateful for
You
these.
took time to marinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ideal audience is one that I know I can look out and see faces of people who are really going to be receptive. That's it.
Can I ask the second question because it pertains to this? Would you prefer a large audience when performing or a small and intimate one?
I'd always prefer a small and intimate audience, but I'd be okay with a large audience, but I'd always prefer a small audience.
Fair enough.
One of the great inspirations of my life, Jason Anderson, who's a dear friend of mine, he performs. He's a singer-songwriter, and he performs when he does house shows. He performs either on a chair and asks everybody to sit on the floor like as literally as close as they can, or he sits on the floor with them. And I've been to those performances, and they're so deeply intimate because he's making music and sharing music to join.
Yeah.
You know? And man, that's what I do too. It's what I want to do, and he and other people like him have been huge inspirations for me in that way.
Tell us more about your tell us more about the magic of
the magic of using a modular synth.
I can't
It's in italics.
speak.
So you have to say it like that.
Tell us more about the magic of using a modular synth.
So, modular synths are like pedal boards. If you know anything about a pedal board, pedal boards allow you to manipulate sound in certain ways. Now, the nice thing about a modular synth is while you can just manipulate sound, you also can generate sound. That all sounds like probably vague or complex to people, but like modular synths are beautiful because you build the repertoire, you build the arsenal of tools that you want to use, and the ways that you can combine them is non-linear. It's not like a pedal board where it's just this to that to that. It's so many different things. It's like brains on brains interacting with each other.
What's your go-to texture or vibe with your own music?
Oh, dude, slowing things down. Either cassette warble or cassette slowing down, or even digital things that replicate slowing things down. I don't know if there's a song that I have where I don't take an item, whether it's an element from that song or Foley or field recording or something, and then slow it down 100 times and add it on top. I don't know if that exists. I almost feel like I shouldn't tell you that because I have this fear that people are going to find out that I do that. It's like
Any
Totally
update with your upcoming album?
You know, Neil, I feel like you actually know the answer to that. So I feel like you're like stocking the deck there.
How does one deal with a Brandon?
I will address the album thing. I will say that
I see how it is. Okay, fine.
I will say that I you're gonna find out quite soon. I say to everybody.
Do you want to mention the cover?
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll say a couple things. You're gonna want to tune in. You're gonna want to tune in on September 21st when we do a live stream, which is our 1 year anniversary of Patreon, and I will have some things to talk about the album.
Sweet.
You're gonna want to tune in. The cover art is amazing. Brandon took the image. It's but a friend of mine, and now I can say colleague, which is so wonderful. Collaborator Elise Wheel, has done the manipulation of the image.
It's so good.
It's really good.
It's so good.
How does one deal with Brandon?
Oh, yes.
Patience. Do you have any siblings? Do you have a girlfriend?
I have half siblings. I don't have a girlfriend now.
What is your favorite camera other than Red, and what are your favorite lenses for tech videos?
Probably, I don't know, a 1DX. I really do like that camera.
It's still really dark in here. I'm just.
It is.
It's like
incredibly
it's
dark
so
here.
rainy right now.
My favorite lens. I don't know. I love my Helios a lot. I love my macro, my 100mm macro. Yeah, those are probably my favorite lenses.
Just like you worked with Jonathan, can I work with you and even Jacob? Hell yeah, dude, bring it on.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Anytime.
What's your favorite episode of The Office?
Probably one of the Christmas episodes.
The one where there's the fire.
Oh, the
is
fire drill?
The fire drill is so hectic.
Wait, are you talking about the fire drill, or are you talking about the one where he sets off a fire through panini in the microwave?
I just remember the scene where Angela throws her cat and he
Yes,
comes back down
fire,
through.
Fucking hilarious. One of the best episodes, easily.
I think moments of that nature are the things I do like about The Office. It's like when there's just absolute chaos. What was the question? Favorite episode? I can't remember most of the episodes of that show. One I really liked, and this is like probably maybe low on people's list, but I remember as a kid seeing it like when it came out. The episode where Michael's like gone missing and Holly has to find him through discovering that they're like literally the same person.
Yeah.
Was like very emotional. Like I feel like when I was younger and like sappy, I was like, that's so interesting and like beautiful that like basically what they're highlighting is that like they're both ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they found each other, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like really raining out there.
Yeah, it is.
My plants are gonna be happy.
What is your favorite movie with Chadwick Boseman? Baldwin? I was about to say Chadwick Baldwin.
Wow.
Would've been hilarious.
I think I've only seen Black Panther with him. I'm not, honestly, I don't watch a lot of movies. I would love to watch more movies with him. He seemed like a very powerful actor.
I'm trying to remember, because there definitely was another movie that I watched somewhat recently too that he was in, but I'm forgetting what it was. But either way, Black Panther, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful movie. What are you guys' opinions on the classic movie trope of people sitting on their beds / couches with their shoes still on? I like to feel like the shoes that I choose are very comfortable, and I will lie on a couch or a bed with my shoes off the edge sometimes. If I'm really like, if it's like cooler weather, like autumn, and I'm like, I just love the feeling of these shoes. I'll lay on a couch and like stick my feet off the edge. But I don't really know the movie trope that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I think I am more so pissed off by the movie trope of like people apparently having had like sexual relations and like they still have their clothes on in the bed. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
Sometimes people have sex with clothes on, like a shirt stays on.
Clothed.
No.
Fully clothed.
No, but like a shirt stays on accidentally or something.
Yeah, but your jeans are not on.
No, jeans don't go on. When are the emojis getting names? You know, I didn't even realize we could name the emojis. I think our mods can name them.
I feel like we did name one though.
Maybe.
Didn't we name your angry face?
I don't know. By the time that this stream is over, our mods will have named all of the emojis.
Yeah,
Go for it, guys. You can do whatever you want. Do you guys have a thought to visit India? Hell yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay,
Very
just
down.
out of frame is one of our fiddle leaf figs. I say one of ours. Brandon only has one. I have a much larger brother. And they're both named Raja. This is Raja 3, mine is Raja 2, and they're both named after a man that... You okay? Yes, nice.
Okay.
They're both named after they're named after and inspired by a man that I met. We have a very large like Indian immigrant population in this area. I grew up like attending an Indian temple, a Jain temple. And grew up with a lot of people from India, and so I have a lot of interest in that. And then specifically within the last year, I met this man who told me some stories. He was working at a Home Depot, and we ended up just chatting, and he told me some stories about growing up in Bangalore, and told me, like, you must visit. He's like, the person that I think you are, you need to go there. And I was like, yes, you're right. And the stories that he told me made their way into the album that I'm releasing soon.
Oh.
So I named things in honor of him, in honor of this person. I this is just because I'm me. After that first interaction, I went back home and I was like so inspired by him and the things he had told me. I wrote them down, obviously, and thought about them a lot. And then I was like, I need to get him my older albums. So I like took I have like CDs of my older albums, and I went back to the Home Depot and I wandered around until I could find him.
Fantastic.
And I found him and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember having a conversation with me, but you said some really profound things and I want to give you these albums. And he was like, oh, I don't remember what I said. And I was like, yeah, that tracks. Like, I never remember the things that
Fantastic.
other people are think are profound.
Last question. Who is your favorite actor/actress? For me, it is Johnny Depp. And
I just had an out-of-body experience.
Helena Bonham Carter, probably.
I just had an out-of-body experience realizing this is the last question.
It's been a journey.
3 hours.
It's been a journey. I don't think my brain is working anymore.
I thought this was going to take 1 hour.
I don't.
What a
think my
fool I
brain is
was
working.
as a younger me.
What
Favorite
advice would you go back to give to 4 hour ago Jake?
Don't do it. Delete the temporary channel. Favorite actor or actress? Wow.
I feel like there's just so many. There's just so many. I also love Reese Witherspoon so much.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, I love Legally Blonde.
You know who I really like that I don't like? I don't see him on a lot of stuff, but every time I see him, he's always doing shit that he just loves. Is Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a go-to favorite actor or anything, but I just like he just popped into my mind because I had said Over the Garden Wall. He's one of the main voice actors, and I just thought of him, and like every time I see him in something, I'm just like, that dude just loves his life.
Yeah.
He's just doing weird shit.
Yeah.
I don't really have.
I feel like it changes for me, depending on the mood.
Should have asked if you were to go back to the Jacob and Brandon from an hour ago, what advice would you give them?
You should have had more coffee.
Yeah, you shouldn't have drank so much water. I have to pee again.
That too. All right.
Wow,
Folks,
guys,
it's been a ride.
Okay, can I do a final plug? All right, I'm gonna.
Yes.
I want to come back around to the things I was talking about before.
Okay.
I don't want to say, September we're opening back up Patreon.
We are.
We would love to see you join that space.
We would.
We really look. This is the only thing I want to talk about with Patreon. We made this video back in February or March. It was the first Great Beyond we made.
Mm-hmm.
Was the cats video.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to see that video so bad. I want to share that with people so bad. I cannot tell you. It was so enjoyable to record and then to edit, and it's just such a shit show and to watch. So if we can get to 75 patrons, that's it. And then it's like it's a 45-minute video of us just watching ridiculous moments of cats. Also, a little teaser. If we can do that, we want to set another goal where we watch another bad piece of theater. What was it called? Starlight Express.
Starlight Express.
We're gonna watch Starlight Express.
Should be a time.
Be a time indeed.
Yeah.
So that's my plug.
My useless theater knowledge comes in handy.
Yeah, my plug is keep that in mind. It really helps the community run effectively. It's
true.
Keep in mind that we're gonna have a resident artist talk on the 9th, I think it is. It's next Wednesday. Go onto Discord, check the news. I made a big old post about all the things we're doing in September. We have a lot of stuff coming. Please, if you have to claw your way to a screen to watch the September 21st live stream that we're doing, please do it. Please join us. It'll be a lot of fun, and it's really going to be cool. And if you like my music and you want to learn anything about what's going on there, be talking about it there. Yep. So I guess we should end this, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost feel like I don't know what life is like not
I'm
doing
gonna
this live stream.
go to the other room and end this. Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
It's
friends.
been real. Goodbye. We love you very much.
Goodbye.
Talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
If you have any further questions, take it to Discord.
Okay, bye.
Bye.